Hello everyone! How's it going? There we go. You can see my face. Well, sort of. And also you can see my face, sort of, on the screen now. You're welcome. Yeah everyone, hey, hi, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. I know I've not streamed in absolutely ages. I think the last time I streamed was maybe... When was it? I think it was when we started season 2. Yeah, it's been a while. Sorry about that. I've been really busy doing lots of other stuff though, okay? So don't hold it against me. So the other day I asked a bunch of people, like on a community poll on YouTube. I was like, hey, what structure in Minecraft do you think needs to be revamped? And like 60-odd% of you, yeah, 60-odd% were like, hey, Jungle Temple, because it sucks. So I figured, hey, why not? Well, why not kick off the stream, this new streaming adventure of mine, with overhauling a jungle temple. But not like, you know, many other builders would. There we go, just have another nice refreshing cup of tea. So as you can see, we have a jungle temple behind us. It's hideous. Let's take a little closer look, shall we? So this little arrow here is indicating where the this is like where the floor would ordinarily sit. So this is like ground height. And then, you know, we go inside, and you've all seen this before, I imagine, if you've played much Minecraft. We have a chamber here, tripwire hook going across there, that will fire at us. And then there's these three... Hey, 𝗕𝗢𝗫𝗫𝗛𝗚. Wow, that name. I'm just gonna call you Para. Oh, I'm really sorry. I may have mispronounced that name horrendously. But... Well, yes, welcome to the stream, man. Yes, this is like my username. Yes, 𝗕𝗢𝗫𝗫𝗛𝗚. Welcome to the stream. Today's stream, we're going to be trying to pronounce this particular person's name. This will be a lot of fun. 𝗕𝗢𝗫𝗫𝗛𝗚. Para. I'm just going to call you Para. Hey, Para, welcome to the stream. Hope you're having a really nice day. So, yeah, we're going to be looking at the Jungle Temple. Hey, Director Amelia, welcome to the stream. I hope you're having a lovely day. So, you've probably seen people overhaul these things before, right? Like, loads of Minecraft builders, they're like, hey, let's overhaul vanilla structures. And today we're going to be overhauling a vanilla structure. Hey, Minute Thread, welcome to the stream, man. Hope you're having a nice day / evening, wherever you may be. But we're going to be looking at it from a slightly different perspective. So I did game design for like 6 years. Something I don't often get to flex that much, to be honest, doing what I do day in, day out. But we're going to be looking at this from a game designer's perspective, where it's good, where it's bad, where problems are, where problems maybe have arisen with it. And then we're going to break down exactly like all of like the core elements, the functions and the aesthetics of what makes up a jungle temple. And then we're going to go inside this little bit over here, and we're going to have a little go at remaking one. So we're not going to be making anything that's stupidly grandiose or anything like that. Like, this isn't done from a builder's perspective. This is getting done from a game designer's perspective. Minecraft has a lot of limitations. This structure, it isn't what's called a jigsaw structure. It's not pieced together in bits like nether fortresses and stuff like that. It's a monolithic structure. They're all identical. We can't do these crazy things with them unless we were to change the base code, which we obviously wouldn't be doing. We'd be working with what Mojang's already put out. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to have an actual little bit of an in-depth look and breakdown of this structure. So the first thing I really want to bring up, and I think it's an issue that is relatively new, is this room, this floor up here. So the jungle temple is split onto 3 floors. We have this ground floor, which commits the deadly sin of only being too high, and then we have the upper floor, and then we have this lower floor down here where, yeah, we have the arrow traps, some redstone, which I'm sure probably makes Minute Thread very unhappy. Just exposed redstone everywhere. And then we have a chest here, another tripwire hook, and then around here there is a whole like lever like puzzle, which goes through to here, and then it would give you access to this chest. But it's not really a temple, is it? It's more of a vault than a temple. There's no, like, a temple's like a place of worship. There's, you know, this doesn't really have any of those sort of vibes. But this floor here, I was wondering, and I was trying to remember, like, playing on Minecraft years ago, and the things about jungle temples, what made them useful. So one of them was this block, the mossy cobblestone, never used to be craftable a long time ago. So the only place you could get it was in a dungeon or at a jungle temple. So it made the jungle temple pretty viable to go to. No longer an issue. You can craft them. You've been able to do it since like 1.8, I think, version 1.8. You could start using vines. Now you can use moss blocks to make mossy cobble. So that block there, it's not a reason to come here anymore. So there's a function gone. This floor serves no purpose at first glance, right? Like, it's too high and seemingly no purpose. And then I remembered, it did once serve a purpose. This floor once served a purpose, because these windows are deliberately kept small. Now, you see where I'm going with this? So this room would have spawned mobs, because the light level in here is below 7. But since 1.18, I think is when it was introduced, right? The new mob spawning rules. This floor no longer spawns anything. So it used to be that you would come into the jungle temple, and things would see you as you're coming in, because you can see, like, here, things up there can see my feet. I can't see them yet. So you would start getting shot at, you know, and things by arrows from skeletons, and then they would start coming down the stairs, and they'd be attacking you. No longer happens. Because these windows are enough to make the light level in here above 0, so that's pointless, right? There's no need for it. So that's an area that is a design element of the temple that had a function that no longer serves a purpose. Like, that's something we need to address. If we're going to revamp a jungle temple, it needs to have some sort of threat, right? Risk versus reward. Which brings me to the next problem. This floor. Has anybody here actually ever raided one of these structures in Minecraft? They're not that useful, you know? There's not a great deal of use to the stuff that you can get in them. Again, they once were. I think the best thing you can get in these is diamond. For designs like this, it's actually a real pain that light level has to be 0 now. If you're designing a structure that should be occupied by random mobs, you basically need to make the players blind. Yes. So we're going to come to a few ways that we can fix some of those elements. So one of the simplest ways that we can fix that para is obviously by adding a function that will make these viable. So I don't want to get into that just yet. But yes, you are right. However, best thing you can get in here is a diamond. Are they that useful anymore, diamonds? These things are relatively rare. It's good for new worlds. Yeah, it's good for new worlds. But then, how long do you really spend in a new... Like, when I get into Minecraft, I normally jump into a mine. It's like normally the first thing I do, and I'll spend about 10-20 minutes down and down. I'll emerge with diamonds. So, having something that's relatively rare out in the world that you have to go out and explore for it, the chance on a loot table of RNG, random number generator, like essentially loot tables are weighted. Some things have got weights. I'm sure you've all played on games that have like loot tables and stuff. You don't need me to explain that. Only has a chance of getting it it doesn't really make it viable to go out and hunt it down. And this is a core issue of a lot of things in Minecraft. There is no purpose to go out and explore. And a game that has a world that's bigger than our actual physical Earth, as a planet, yeah, it's not great. You really want to encourage people to go out and explore. Now, ocean monuments, they've got this amazing thing. An ocean monument has sponges in it. That's a unique block you can't get anywhere else. Jungle Temple is the best thing you can get as a diamond. You can get horse armor, so similar to a dungeon, right? In fact, they're almost identical to many other structures, desert temples and dungeons and so on. So there's nothing really unique as a reason to hunt this out. So my first question to you all is, if you had been, loot if you see one exploring, if you're out and about, one of the things that I will often do, Minute Thread, is quite often if I'm out exploring, I will have a shulker box or, just if it's really early game, just in my inventory, a couple of doors. And then obviously I've got my torches. So these sort of things, they just create a little safe haven for me. So I'll just throw on a couple of doors, jump inside, and I'm safe. That tends to be their purpose for me. It's essentially a bed and breakfast. It's just a little place to bed down for the evening. But if you were wanting to make a game where you wanted to encourage exploration, what would you give a jungle temple that would be a somewhat unique item, or at least make it more viable to go and explore? Certainly in the early game. Is there anything that you guys would be like, oh, that would be a great inclusion? And you're not limited to just come up with things that are already in Minecraft. Yeah, totally. Yeah, see, that's what I was thinking. See, because when you think jungle temple, what you think of, you think of like Mayan, Aztec, that sort of thing. Gold and totem just seems to work well with that idea. And the only other place you really get totems of undying is through raids, which, if it's early game and if you're a new player in particular, you don't really want to do. So throwing a totem into the loot table instantly makes this one step more viable to use. You see it, you're going to want to grab a totem. It's free real estate, guys. Like, it makes sense, right? The other thing with this floor, obviously a super simple fix for the whole nothing will spawn up here anymore, would be to put a skelly cage in. Would that make woodland mansions obsolete? No. Woodland mansions have a high amount of alleys, don't forget, as well. In that they've actually added alleys for the raid towers and the woodland mansions, right? So people now actually actively seek them out. Also, woodland mansion is my least favorite structure. I hate the look of that thing. Yeah, I mean, they're easy to forget about. I'm not a huge lover of alleys. They don't have enough sounds. There's only about three or four passive sounds that an alley has. I don't know. Has anybody here farmed like 4 or 5 alleys and just had them in a room? It's a cacophony of nonsense. It's the most upsetting amount of sound. If you're going to do that, you want the silence data pack from Vanilla Tweaks so you can silence them. Because Christ, it's repetitive. It will drive you insane. I have like 4 or 5 of them on Random Craft. They're like out of the way. I have not really showed them or anything yet, because they've just really early whilst we were exploring, I found them, brought them back, threw them in boats so they were safe, and I just sort of forgot about them because the noise that they make is horrible. I've always thought that there's no need for a new mob every update, just pushing out stuff that isn't well thought out. That's a whole different conversation though. Well, yes, but no, it isn't a different conversation, because everything within game design is connected. One of the things that I specialized in, and it's one of the things that it was like my core focus of my studies, was immersive storytelling. How you can sort of lead somebody down the garden path, as it were, to make up an idea and come up and inspire people into seeing things that you you're not holding their hand. It's almost like they feel like they've discovered it. And we do that a lot within game design, where we make you think that you've had freedom. And of course you don't. Like, it's all built around you. We know the outcomes for the most part, unless you're playing like a tabletop role-playing game where it's completely improvisational and stuff. So we know a lot of the outcomes. And structures and mobs, they are sort of tied together. You know, you've got wardens in ancient cities, you've got wither skeletons and nether fortresses, you have piglin brutes and stuff and bastions. Obviously there's the spawners for the blaze at the nether fortresses. So there's a lot of mobs are tied to a build or a structure in some way within Minecraft. So that is a viable thing that could be done. And I was actually talking to 𝗕𝗢𝗫𝗚𝗏, who's a friend of mine who also studied games design. And one of the things that he actually suggested was putting a unique skeleton type mob into jungle temples. So similar to how there's husks, which is sort of like a counterpart of zombies, adding in sort of like a mossy, ancient looking skeleton thing, which I know we kind of already have with withers, but allowing them to sort of like maybe hit hard, maybe have crossbows or something. He didn't really go too much into detail. That was one of his solutions. So, you know, mobs can be tied, but I do agree, new mob every update, it's not that great of an idea. I'd prefer if they focused on structure updates, like we're looking at today, biome updates, increasing the biodiversity of the game. I think will help them add new mobs in the future, because they'll have put in a foundation of biodiversity to then think about the fauna that goes on top. So obviously world is split into essentially two parts. There's flora and fauna. Adding that would be useful. You know, adding in a bunch of flora that the fauna can then easily be implemented into. I want to be able to tame spiders. I would love... It annoys me that skeletons can ride spiders, yet we can't as players. I do agree. I would like to have a spider mount. One of the issues with that, though, of course, is that spiders can climb walls, and they do so in the worst way imaginable. Like they just sort of stick to the wall, then up they go. Not the best thing, but again, in terms of like certain, everything's a double-edged sword when you're including stuff. So like tameable spiders, right? It's a great idea, and I love the idea. It would make like things like faction servers a little bit more interesting and different, because all of a sudden you've essentially got a mount that can scale walls, which is, you know, it might change the meta game of factions a lot. So, you know, there's some interesting sides. Anyway, we are massively deviating. I apologize. I'm very easily swayed into just talking to you all. And I'm aware that you've all come here to like discuss these things, and I'm like just taking you down a garden path to absolutely nowhere. So design wise, I'm not sure where they're. I mean, I can kind of see some sort of like Cambodian influences with this, actually more than Mayan, like Angkor Wat looking structures, but they're not really utilizing. And again, this really highlights the age of a jungle temple. There's no walls. I think there's stairs. I don't think there's slabs either. No slabs. So geometry wise, because of the time when this was made, it's actually missing some things that would help make something a little bit nicer. And this is one of the main issues that Minecraft has, that Mojang has with Minecraft, I should say, is this jungle temple is supposed to be a relic, right? It's a relic of an ancient past. But it is also just become a relic of game design past. Like, it doesn't really serve much of a purpose anymore. Things don't spawn on that top level anymore. The design of the structure is very rudimentary in comparison to what can be done now. I mean, it's literally 2 blocks, right? We've got, well, no, I suppose 4. Let's be fair. We've got the stairs here as well. So I think that's it. Just is those 3 blocks? Stairs. I'm not counting the redstone contraptions, guys, as blocks because they do not change the aesthetic of the build. They are purely function. Oh, there we go. We do have these, which I'll let them off with that. Hey, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. I hope you're having a nice morning, afternoon, / evening, wherever you may be. Okay, so I think it's just these. Yeah, I think it's just these. Okay. Yeah, they did leave it very basic. So these are our blocks. There we go. So everything is made up of those. And this one is only there 3 times. This isn't this one here. I'm just gonna stick a redstone block on it. That is just used to indicate levers for redstone. So the rest of the building is just those 3. And obviously we've got a lot more than that now. We've got stone bricks. We have mossy stone bricks. We have all of the wall options. So all of this here, even andesite as a texturing block. And just walls alone, which there's none of in here. I'm just going to no, we'll stick them together. It's fine. We'll stick them together. I know this will probably upset some people. So I'm going to do that. There we go. So just in walls alone, we have nearly double the amount of block palette just in walls. So there's a lot that can be done with these. Looking at it beside the Ocean Temple, which is about as old, they left it really basic. Well, yeah, I think Ocean Temples came out after Jungle Temples, though, right? Because Jungle Temples were added. I know they were added pre 1.8. I don't remember exactly when off the top of my head. But I know they existed before you could get mossy cobblestone as a base, as a craftable block. Maybe it would be cool if you did something closer to the Jungle Temple shown in the Jungle and Iron Golem update trailer. I have not seen that trailer, so I'm not sure of which Jungle Temple you speak aesthetically. But honestly, I know this will be from a game designer's perspective, not the most professional way of when. I'm pretty sure I could go to my bathroom now and make something nicer than this thing. I absolutely despise. I absolutely despise it. I really don't like it. Like I say, I think. So when we all think Jungle Temple, I think we all do kind of think of like Mayan, right? But this structure is clearly more Angkor Wat. Hey, BMA, welcome to the stream. I hope you're having a nice morning. Today we're looking at the Jungle Temple from my game design background perspective. We're kind of breaking it down into its functions and aesthetics. And then we're going to go through this chest, write down some stuff, and then we're going to go over there and make some of this. Just not this, though. Not this. That's terrible. We're not going to remake that. But yeah, we're gonna redo something better than this. So, functions. This floor useless, doesn't do anything anymore. This needs addressing. This floor, it's a basic sort of thing. Again, doesn't really serve much of a purpose. It's really the entrance way in. And then down here we have, tripwire hook, firing thing, exposed redstone, which is slightly upsetting. Especially because this sits underground, so it could actually have gone further out there. And then another tripwire hook for this one, and then the chest for loot, and then through here we have the lever section, which opens up so we can get access into this bit. Now, one of the things that they clearly wanted to do functionally with this is give that Indiana Jones explorer vibe, right? They've got like secret tripwire hooks. We've got dispensers firing arrows at you that they have tried to disguise the best way you really can in Minecraft with a vine. Nothing suspicious here. It's perfectly fine. Ignore the giant hole in this wall. It's fine. But yeah, that's the best way they can really disguise it. I get that. But they're clearly trying to invoke like this sort of like ancient explorer temple. But it's not really a temple. Like, I think there should be a weird... I mean, that would have just helped for a start, just doing that. But okay. I see what they're trying to invoke with this. That sort of explore an ancient ruin. But it's not very well implemented in comparison to what Mojang could do. Obviously, if somebody in the community made something like this, I wouldn't knock it. These are, professionals. We should hold ourselves to a standard. So, function-wise, this jungle temple needs to hit some markers. It needs to look old. We've got mossy and stuff in there. It needs to look overgrown. We need to increase the block palette. That's a function an aesthetic upgrade, but it will lead on to function after, I think. So I don't want to give too much away. And it's I think the idea is to be able to get loot, right? 𝗘𝗡𝗜𝗚𝗏 of Undying. That's going to improve this structure's viability a lot by having that Totem of Undying in the loot table. So that's what we're going to sort of be using as our basis. We've got 𝗕𝗢𝗜𝗚𝗏 and Mayan and Aztec vibes, old rundown temple, increase the functionality of these floors so that we actually do get some threat when we come in here. Maybe just altering this top and maybe adding something a little bit more dangerous below. Because when I think danger comes from below as opposed to above, which is probably a result of a Western upbringing. With, Christianity, hell, being below, and so on. There's a lot of what we call the halo effect with that. Which I won't get into here about the halo effect to do with design. However, if somebody in chat is aware of what the halo effect is in design and wants to ream that off, then please be my guest and enlighten people. So this is all underground from this arrow down. This is above ground, so it's about a 50-50 split. Like 40-60? Nearest damn at 50-50. Maybe like 55-45. So, what else? What else is there? These bits here are a bit of an issue. Those could have probably been walls, I think, in hindsight. Do you think adding mob spawners would increase the difficulty or good leveler, make it easier triggering the better hidden traps? Adding a mob spawner in is one of the solutions of making this a more viable structure. So, if we had... In fact, let's just... There we go. If we had a spawner, which we will just... it's not going to spawn anything, but let's do this like we mean it. There we go. I know there may be somebody in chat that went, wait, you can do that with eggs? Yes, if you right click, doesn't matter what it is, even if it's a warden, you can make a warden spawner in creative or whatever. Just right click on a spawn cage with an egg. Kaboom. Would make this more viable for a couple of reasons. So it would add a function that would be unique. Almost all mob spawners in game spawn below sea level. Below Y level 64. They can be difficult to locate without, additional aids like chunk base and stuff like that, which is why chunk base, which is a website you can go onto, you can put in the seed of a level of a world, and it will show you where everything is. You can see where ocean monuments are and dungeons and stuff. Nobody in randomcraft knows the seed. I don't. None of the randoms do. It's kept completely secret. Somebody else selected the seed for us in randomcraft season 2. So everything in randomcraft has to be organically found, and it can be a problem finding spawners. Sometimes you'll want a skeleton spawner. You're wanting bone blocks or bone meal. And all you can find is zombie and spider. So, adding in a spawner, as you suggested, would increase the difficulty of the structure, which is a good thing, especially because now this floor serves no purpose since the mob spawn rule change. It also means that when a player does find it, they're faced with an option. They either destroy this cage or they keep it, and you've got an above ground skelly spawner, which is rare in Minecraft, and it makes it easier. Like, if you see this from a distance, you would know that has a skelly spawner in it. I need bones. I have dogs to tame. How am I supposed to raise my dog army? I need this. So you would come here and grab them. So yeah, spawner. I have broken blocks. What have I done? Let's put that back. There we go. So adding a spawner definitely is a great way of increasing the viability of this structure's purpose. Like, because that's what we really want to do. This structure has no real purpose anymore. Like, it doesn't serve a great purpose. It used to, and now it doesn't. So, inspiration-wise, I mean, somebody suggested to me yesterday as I was planning this stream. They said, "Hey, Enigma, have you thought about maybe not using mossy and cobble and stuff and using mud instead? Because it would look cooler." It might, but you would lose that overgrown look. And if you look at places like 𝗕𝗢𝗫𝗚𝗓, for example, it is grey stone. I think it's actually a volcanic stone at 𝗕𝗢𝗫𝗓, if I remember correctly. And it has that mossy sort of look. I get the visual style of what they were aiming for. I don't think it's well executed by today's Minecraft standards, but I get what they were visually going for. So we can increase the block palette. We can increase the complexity of the design as a result of walls and slabs and stairs and so on. We can increase the size, but we have to keep it as a monolithic structure. Now, what I mean by monolithic is if you were to use, and I can't on this server, but if you were to use the command /place and then do structure, you can see here we have a, where is it down here, jungle pyramid. All jungle pyramids are all identical. There is no deviation away from it. This is what gets loaded in. So when the game generates a new world, it kind of does so in chunks, right? So let's grab a couple of wall blocks a second. I know it seems like I'm deviating. I promise I'm not. I do promise I'm not deviating. So it generates the chunks. So if these are 16 by 16s, and it does obviously parts of regions. So this is how it generates going across. And then what it does is from this level upwards, it starts generating, but it doesn't do it in the order you may think it does. As an example, lakes get generated after trees, which is mental. Makes no sense. Makes no sense why that would be a thing, but it's a thing in Minecraft. Lakes get generated after trees, and after grass, like after like actual, like, not grass blocks, but actual, this grass, this type of grass here, gets generated after that. Which is why you will often see floating grass in the air above a lake, or a tree that gets cut in half, because the lakes got generated after and cut it off. Now, I've not deviated, I'm coming back. So jigsaw structures like mine shafts and structures like strongholds, they tend to be a little bit janky, because the way that they get generated is based on essentially lots of individual structures being pushed together in different configurations to make something unique. So it's almost like a procedurally generated thing based on the seed. So whatever the seed is, it will be like, okay, we'll put that there, that there, that there, that there, and that there. Unique structure. Jungle temples don't work like that. The same with desert temples. The loot is unique, based on a loot table, but the structure is generated monolithically, i.e. as one solid thing that never changes. So anything that we do has to keep that as its principle. We can't go making huge roguelike dungeons for this. Can't do it, because it has to keep Minecraft's and Mojang's original thing of being monolithic. So that's another thing that we have to bear in mind. So anything we do has to be a monolithic structure. Now, one of the things, and I think it's probably where my biggest issue is with this structure, other than just the basic geometry, is it doesn't look very ruined. You see like the little where drowns spawn, you know, then the little ancient under ocean sort of sites. They kind of look like they've been destroyed over time. And the Jungle Temple doesn't really fit that same aesthetic. I think Mojang have evolved and done so in a positive way. This structure's an old design. They like, in my opinion, they do need to revisit this at some point. Maybe a jungle update would be cool. And they could do it as part of a jungle update. I don't know, what would it actually? I know that I think it was Minute Thread earlier on said, if they added, hey 𝗕𝗢𝗫𝗚𝗏, welcome to the stream, man. I think it was Minute Thread earlier said, hey, I think they don't need to add a mob in every update. I agree. However, if there was a jungle update and they were going to overhaul the jungle temple and they were going to add in a new mob for jungles, would you make it where it was temple related, or is there a mob that would fit into a jungle? Like I say, I know they would never add in a lion or a tiger or, you know, panthers and stuff like that, or puma. But is there something that you would add in? That's the next question for this stream. Is there a mob you would add into a jungle update if you had one? Monkey. A monkey would be a good option. I would like to see monkeys in Minecraft. And a monkey temple would be interesting. I think that'd be an interesting idea. Okay, so let's come down here and grab this book. So, key areas. We need to fix this, because this is broken. This was an oversight, by the way. I'm not... Let's just get rid of this spawner a second. Doesn't naturally generate there. I'm not being mean to Mojang or anything. These things happen with games over years. World of Warcraft, any game that exists as a service for an extended period of time runs into these issues that we have with this floor. For anybody that's like just fresh on the stream, this floor serves no purpose from a game design standard. Like, so you come in this floor here. This is like your lobby area, right? This is like the area of you go up or do you go down. And obviously you're always going to go down, but this floor here has these very small windows. It sits at light level 6 inside here. This would have originally spawned mobs, and used to. I remember coming into jungle temples and fighting mobs. Since the update, mob spawning rule change, this floor no longer spawns anything. It's an issue. So that's one thing we need to address. Is that second floor. Let me see. Maybe you could do something similar to ancient cities, where if you decide to have some parts broken, then you can have it be repaired by pillagers with blocks they generally use. Ah, look at that! Look at that view. I know. Look at, but Would you live in a house like this? Yeah, the view is astounding. This view, not so much. Not a fan of this view. But this view over here, beautiful. Beautiful. Look at all those grids. All these beautiful grids. So maybe you could do something similar to ancient cities, where if you decide to have some parts broken, then you could have it be repaired by pillagers with the blocks they generally use. Yeah, I mean, I think that would be an interesting idea, to have it where one of the problems that Mojang has, and it is very specifically, and this is me picking on Mojang, is they're constantly scared to add things in that lead people down a set narrative where there's a clear indication of a story. They tend to not do that. They like to leave it really open. And I think that Mojang would never really add something in like that purely based on the fact of it would add in an element where it would kind of hint at some story ideas. But it is a cool idea. I do like that. So, yes. So upper floor, invalid. Middle floor, entrance, revamp, just because it's a bit ugly. We want to increase the like block types, increase the palette. One of the other things that we really want to do is really sort of, we want to encourage some of these sort of elements of these Indiana Jones style explorer parts, right? That's what this was supposed to invoke. So we want to invoke the explorer vibe. Invoke explorer vibes. Okay, that's another thing we really want to do. I should have put a space in there. And there. It needs to be sort of easy for me to read. Alter reward. Alter the rewards. Increase bot palette. Invoke explorer vibes. What else did we go over? We also wanted to yes, increase risk. So we have the whole 𝗕𝗢𝗜𝗚𝗏 sort of, I think it has an H in it, right? 𝗕𝗢𝗜𝗏? Don't remember. We'll just do that. 𝗕𝗢𝗏𝗏 vibe, Aztec vibe, Mayan vibe, ruinous. Oh no, we'll just do that. Ruinous. Look. Indiana Jones. Okay, there are all the things that we've basically come to the conclusion that, you know, is sort of issues and ways that we can sort of like build upon it. I did not want to sign it. I need to be able to edit that book. So, as you guys said, one of the things that we can do to increase the reward in here, make them more viable, add in a Totem of Undying into the loot table. It's the simplest thing to do. You're 100% right. It was the conclusion I came to before I started streaming. It gives a good, relatively early game reason to come in here. Even late game, if you're out exploring and, you know, things aren't looking so great, you spot one of these, you're gonna risk the death for the option of getting something cool and that will be actually helpful. Because otherwise it doesn't really have anything that's very helpful in it. So, block palettes. Let's have a look at these block palettes. So this, let's just remove that. This is the original block palette. And actually, I really want to keep that separated because that's only used 3 times. Just for the levers. So really it's these 3 blocks. And obviously we can use a much wider array of blocks, we've got walls, we have stairs, we have slabs. So increasing that is huge. And we have... I don't think we would use polished. I think that would look too clean. I think that wouldn't fit the ruinous look that we'd want to be sticking with. But cobble, we have mossy cobble, as well as the stair variants, and then the slab variants. So you can see already, like, just how many more blocks we really have to play with. Let's just put those there. There'd be a gap there for a second, and a gap there for a second, and then a gap there as well. Because we also want to add in... Actually, there'd be more than that, because we want to be able to use the bricks as well as the andesite. So we have andesite. We're going to have to, like, double these up, I think. Okay. I'd like to see more mossy variants. Mossy andesite would be good. I kind of like the idea of mossy andesite. And then one there and one there. Just get rid of all that. And then we have the bricks. Not infested. We don't want infested ones. We can throw cracked in there as well. And then the walls. And then the slabs. Where's our other one there? And then that one and that one. There we go. So let's just throw these in here. I know this isn't going to have the order just yet. There we are. So this is what we've originally had. This is what that structure uses. It just uses these three because they're all that were available back then. And you got to remember, when this structure came out, this couldn't be crafted. Like this you couldn't craft this. So, this was a pretty magnificent building when it very firstly came out. In terms of, I'm gonna mine that. I want mossy cobblestone. And I remember mining a bunch of these to make castles because I needed the mossy. But yeah, just these three. And now obviously we've got the ability to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21-ish. I may have accidentally doubled up on 1 or 2 there. I don't think I have, but I may have. So going from 3 to 21. What if another thing you could add to the loot table were Eyes of Ender, as it could be good loot, but also might go against what you said about not wanting to implement lore into it, because Mojang wouldn't. Well, the Eye of Ender... Okay, let me ruminate on that one for a moment. I'm going to go silent, because I do actually really want to think on that one, because... I like the idea, but I'm trying to see if there's any downsides from a game design standpoint before I go, yes! I do think an Eye of Ender would be useful. I don't think it would alter much. It does have that orb sort of look to it, kind of fits with sort of like a temple-y type of thing. It would give new speedrunning strats, that's the other thing I was just thinking about. Structures in Minecraft, I've explained this before in my diamond video, if anybody's watched that here. Nothing in games development, nothing in computing at all is truly random. Computers can't do it. It's not something they can do. There is actually a chip that's relatively new that allows for things to be a lot more random, but it's still something that is calculated. It's perceived randomness. It's almost the way that figures out the mathematics behind it. It's so incalculable to a human mind that it is essentially random, but it's not truly random. And in Minecraft, it's a lot less than this. It's really not random. To the point where, if you are used to watching speedrunners, you can find where strongholds are, based on fossil placement in the nether. So you can jump to the nether, and based on where a fossil is, you know where a stronghold is in the overworld. And that's a strat. So speedrunning is an interesting thing. There is no randomness with the game, only perceived randomness. That's an interesting fact I didn't know. Yeah, I can't remember the speedrunner's name, but if you look it up on YouTube, not now, I'm more interested, but if you look it up after the stream, and you just search finding strongholds with fossils, there's actually a gentleman who broke all of that down and explained how to do it. I've done it a couple of times to locate a stronghold, but it is some big brain strat thing. Like I've only looked at the video maybe 15 or 16 times, so I'm not that good at it yet, but it is something that can be done, yeah. Although I think that might be pre 118. I don't know if 118's changed stuff. I don't think it will have, because the nether they didn't change how the nether generated. So I imagine it's probably still the same. So what I'm thinking is why temples exist. Well, they ordinarily exist sacrifice, prayer. Well, actually, we'll say religious purposes, because some religions just practice sacrifice. So religious purposes and burials. So they're basically human rights based. Director Amelia, yeah, dropping all the knowledge this stream. That's what I'm here for, dropping knowledge and being a general idiot boxhead. So I think one way of really sort of increasing the idea, remove this floor. Well, no, this floor would still exist. Keep this floor, but add a new floor in down here. But maybe give the option, so you come down here and there's like a room, there's like a stair going down there. Stair going down. Do you know what? I'm sick of you things firing at me. You behave yourselves. Stairwell going down there. Stairwell going down there. Maybe the hallway gets moved to here, so you come down the center. That would give a little bit more room for redstone as well, which would be extra nice. We would lose this room through... Not there. We would lose that. Just fill that in. But losing that would be fine. And the reason for that is I'm thinking adding in 2 tombs, sort of more Egyptian pyramid, some of the old, make it more burial righty. So add in a couple of tombs. Maybe we can put some like coffin looking structures down there. Maybe put the skelly spawners in them, so there's one there and one there, or just maybe just one tomb. Maybe one tomb, one artifact room, which could lead into the archaeology update that we keep getting promised. You know, like a little area to go do a little bit of archaeology. Tomb, skeletons coming out. Yeah, I think something like that. That would be good. Good monolithic structure. Oh, let's just... No. All right, yeah. Okay. I think we've got some ideas. They might not be good ideas. They might be terrible ideas, but they're ideas. We have them. No one can take that away from us. No. No one can remove that from us. We have ideas, they're ours. So, yeah, I think the first thing that we'd probably want to do is we want to really generate something that just has a nice ruinous look to it. We want to invoke that look, right? This ruinous look. So we have a block palette. What we'll do, we'll probably maybe this is a good accent block. So we'll take that. I don't need all these arrows that got fired at me. We don't need that in life. We'll take these. We'll take these. We'll take some of this as well. I think that would probably be enough for what I... Actually, no, I want some... Let's get rid of that one. Because I really do... I do want some of this. Get rid of that, and take that. So I think the first thing that we'd kind of want to do, so this is our, ignore the poppies and the flowers. That they're a byproduct of it's peaceful, all right? Shut up. So I think the first thing would be like creating some sort of like entrance. And if you look at like things like 𝗕𝗄𝗏𝗏, May and stuff, they're not as devoid as what this structure is over there. They're not as devoid as that. That's a very, it's lifeless. There's no life to it. The idea of a ruin is that it's surpassed its use. It's got, you know, it's a ruin of a past era. It was lived in, lived around, it was loved, it's now forgotten about. It's a tombstone of civilization. So we kind of want to capture that sort of thing. It's like a grave marker of a past race, past state of past civilization, as I say. So we want to kind of invoke that with our ruinous vibes. So I think what we'll do is we'll come down here, put some of this grass. What we're going to do is start by making some sort of a pillar. We'll change up some of these blocks after, I think. But for now, let's just get something shapely down. So that one there, I think this one here would have a wall. So this would go up like this, I think. So what we're doing here is we're making like a pillar, right? We're going to make like an entrance pillar. So this would go there, and then there would obviously be like another block here. And then this would have, just so we get this sort of slightly rounded look. Because we have walls now, we can do this, guys. We can. We probably shouldn't, but we can. There we go. And then here we can put in some slabs, kind of extend it out a little bit, give it a little bit more weight at the bottom. So this is where we're going to start talking about a little bit about building. Pillars. I see pillars all the time that people have made in Minecraft. They tend to be heavier at the bottom than at the top. In fact, if you look at the Acropolis, the ancient Greece structure, if you actually look at those pillars, they're not actually straight. They taper probably about 5 degrees, if that, as they go up. They get slightly thinner as they go up. Not by much, but it's because obviously you want the weight to go down. Think of triangles. The weight that gets put on that point on the very top is distributed to the whole bit at the bottom. So pillars tend to be slightly wider at the bottom than they do at the top. Do you think that adding a TNT trap, that if you aren't careful, it won't just hit you with a single arrow, but blow up the whole place to make it even more tense and dangerous? As in, like, I think that would be a good idea. I actually, again, was discussing this with Archon before the stream today. One of the things that him and I discussed was the idea of lava traps, which actually gave us some extra ideas of potential new redstone blocks. Because we were talking about like the idea of like you go into this temple, you're like, aha, temple, and then there being like a pressure plate or a tripwire hook that seals the door behind you, and then you start hearing a ticking sound. And then if you don't get out of that bit or activate the thing at the other end, it just releases lava into the chamber you're in. Now, that would require a new redstone block. Well, it wouldn't. You could do it with the blocks that are there. But imagine like a redstone repeater, but a ticker. So it was like a block formatted version of a hopper clock. So rather than it being like a repeater, that would be like 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 seconds per thing. So once it gets activated, it starts ticking, and you could even have like a little like circle here, and it would just start ticking around. And then once it reaches here, it would then output. That'd be a very, very handy thing to have for doing that type of thing. Especially on the admittedly pretty rare adventure mode world. Otherwise, they can just dig. Yeah, you can just mine your way out. That is always one of the problems with anything that Mojang do with Minecraft. Is just how do you stop people mining their way out of it? The creative freedoms that we have does cause some issues with game design, because we don't. Almost everything that you have. Yeah, you'd have to have a very durable block. And the most durable of blocks, obviously, most of the time can't be moved by pistons, which is a downside. But yeah, I think a few good things that you could do to sort of try and prevent that, at least on an aesthetical baseline standard, would be to, rather than having the door seal, have it where the door has a trim and it kind of fills in with lava, like the old lava doors. Does anybody remember the old lava doors, where you could like, so you'd like have you'd have like a bit like this, right? And then this would come over like that, if I remember correctly, something like this. Gee, this is really old. Yeah, and then the same this side. Does anybody remember these at all? Am I just super old with Minecraft? This might be the case. And then obviously you'd have your lava there, so that would just go straight down. And then what they would do is you would have a block here and a block here. Put in a rail just there like that, and then throw in a minecart. So we put that there, and then from this side you can just hop through the lava. So you like, it's like an old hidden door from, oh god, years ago. I think I remember making one of these in 2011. So a very, 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 very long time ago. So yeah, like you'd have like, the idea is that it would be like in a chamber and there'd be lots and lots of these sorts of things. It wouldn't just be that one. Yeah, right? It's super old. A really, really old trick. And then one of them would be like that, so you can just get through. Right, let's get rid of that. That's not part of our design thing today. But damn it, chat, you're so goddamn lovely and distracting. Let's just get rid of all this. There we go. Gone. Never happened. Never saw it. It's fine. Question it. I think what we'll do is, like I say, we won't ruin us. Okay, so I'm trying to keep up with you, chat. Bear with me. Maybe it would be good if you could move the obsidian with a piston, but it can't remain in block. Piston moves obsidian, but no other block. Yeah, I'd like a really tough block, like a block that is just strong, that can still be moved. Again, there's Mojang are very scared about this word, and I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say this word, and it could offend a lot of you, but they could do with not being so scared of the word magic. They're just scared of it. We have potions, we have witches, we have all these things. Having tough block, but indeed. I was very upset at how untough a tough block was. Obviously, tough is an actual real life thing. It is relatively soft, but still. Obsidian's also extremely fragile in real life. It's not as hard as what Mojang would have us believe. But that sort of thing of allowing more magical things within Minecraft to allow, for example, the idea of, because like lodestone, if you're using a lodestone, you're using magic. That is a magical device. It is a thing that will bring you back to life. Like totems of undying. I'm sorry, they're magical. It's a totem that revives you after death. there's lots of things that are magic, but Mojang are scared of using the word magic. That they're terrified of saying and using it for whatever purpose. But having blocks that are deemed magical would actually allow us to do some other stuff. For example, one of the next highest structure when I did the vote was a witch hut, and that was one of the ideas I had for a witch hut, is a magical block, a block that you could alter the effects of. We'll come to that. But now we really need to. Okay, the temple's done, guys. Welcome to the new jungle. To be honest, it's still prettier than the original. Okay, let's actually do a little bit of building. Magic would be really cool system, maybe mildly implemented with the 𝗘𝗢𝗔𝗗. Well, that's the thing. We have like potions and stuff like that. They've existed for years, and stuff. So I live in hope that they'll add a little bit more in, just to make the game a little bit more interesting. I'm always wanting there to be more interesting stuff added to the game. I don't really care about, oh, that's not really something I personally would like. If anybody's like that, you need to get over yourself. It's not about you personally. Nothing in game design is about you personally. It's about making the game more believable, more enjoyable for the most amount of people they can. What about evokers? Yeah, evokers. I mean, they cast. You know, witches throw potions. We have a lot of stuff to do. All right, let's get rid of some of those. We'll replace those with some walls. Again, we want this sort of ruinous. Remember, guys, ruinous. I said I was going to put some slabs in at the bottom when I started talking about things being slightly thicker at the bottom in terms of pillars, and we never put them in. So let's just do that real quick. I am a professional. Okay, there we go. And then we'll just put those there and there. There you go. Add a little bit of weight to the bottom. Quick chat continues to be a distraction. Yes. That is always my issue. I am very, very easily distracted. Anybody that's watched any of my Minecraft videos will be aware of this already. I released a video yesterday on movable, drivable mechs and robots that was made by a community member on my Discord called Haru. Absolute legend. They're great. That video, as I said in that was supposed to be out like a week ago, and I just got distracted. I just started playing with stuff, and then I realized that I destroyed the world that I'd set up. I destroyed the entire world that I'd set up for actually recording. I was like, yes, well, quite. Guess we'll have to redo this. I am a liability to myself more than anything. I'd be dangerous if I had at least 2 brain cells. Okay, this one we're going to leave blank, because I think what we're going to do is we're going to put like a block here. We'll do that, and then we'll kind of maybe put that there instead. Yeah, that's got like a nice vibe. And then what we'll do is so we have the option. We can either cap that off, or we could leave it as a sort of like a pillar and put like another sort of like ruined piece here, and then sort of use that. Yeah, I think we'll do that. I didn't realize I only got halfway with that explanation, chat. You know, sue me. You want to keep Minecraft scale to a degree, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, be somewhere around there. Might be a little bit too narrow, so we'll probably double that, so maybe there-ish. Is that 6? Let me say 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8. No, so one more there. Alright, just want to essentially repeat that. Which, actually, we're going to do a little bit of cheating. I don't really like using world edit that much. When I'm doing things like this, I prefer to Yeah, I prefer things to be a little bit more organic, but for this purpose, why not? It's your own fault. You've all been way too distracting. There we go. And then this one we're not going to take up as high, and we're just going to break it off. So we'll take this bit up, and then we'll maybe put in like a wall on the top there, like that. And then we'll probably throw in a wall there, stair there. Put in no, not a slab. That's a terrible idea. You behave yourself. Put the slab there. Stair. Actually, no, not a stair there. See you, double. Have fun. Right, there we go. So we have like essentially what I'm thinking is there would be like an overhang that would have been broken off to keep this sort of ruined look. I think it would also help to sell the idea that this was supposed to be in some form of darkness and covered, and it isn't quite, so you can kind of like lead people down the garden path of this was once something much grander than it is now, to kind of give that forgotten, eerie vibe. Set the tone, you set the mood, right? So let's take that up a little bit more. Yeah, I think what we'll do is we're going to take this up a small amount more. Let me put a wall on there. Take that up. And then maybe this one. Like that. Yeah, there we go. That thins out enough. So then up here, this is where we'll essentially put like... Maybe that's a bit too high. Is that too high? No. No, it's not too high. I've decided. I have spoken. It is not too high. So around here, this is essentially where we would have like a floor. Now we don't want things to necessarily spawn on this floor because we want all of the evil to be inside. So we're going to use these nice lower slabs. That's going to protect. That's going to protect this. It's essentially spawn-proof it. Now, this would go back here. So let's just take this back. And then we're going to cut a chunk out like it's been destroyed. So kind of, that's where the pillar would come up. The pillar is no longer there, so we will end up destroying a chunk of this. But for now, we'll just put in that. And then we kind of want to see... I'd say probably starting around here, so we probably want to like cut a little bit off of this. This probably wants to be brought out like by one more anyway. So we'll chop this section out like it's broken away, and then this over here we'll just completely cut away like that. We'll, you know, obviously texturing wires and stuff that would need a little bit more. Which I think it would probably have broken sooner than that. That seems like it's too much there. Let's go there. Although I've just remembered I forgot that there would be a wall plating up here, which I should have put in first, in reality. Because that would be where the wall would sit. So let me just, again, /blonde. Down here. Look in there. And do that. Alright, so... yeah, so this could have gone further out. I kind of like that little gap. So one of the things that doing game design for many years has taught me, and studying it, is accidents are often very good. So quite a lot of the time you will have these like little like bits and pieces that you will come across. Actually, the best thing I can do is explain this through examples. Grand Theft Auto. I'm sure many people here are aware of Grand Theft Auto as one of the biggest games ever made, right? It's huge. So one of the things with the original Grand Theft Auto, not like all the new ones, but the very, very first ones, they used to have a top-down version. And those games were made originally completely by mistake. Like, it was completely accidental. So, that it was like... originally it was made by a gentleman called David Jones. Back before Rockstar was called Rockstar, it used to be called DMA Design. And many people here will probably be too young to know this, or you'd probably even be aware what the game is, but there's a game, very old game called Lemmings. The man who made Lemmings is the same man who made Grand Theft Auto. And he made Grand Theft Auto by mistake. It was supposed to be called Race and Chase? I think it was Race and Chase in the early to mid 90s. Early-ish 90s. And the idea was you played as a cop chasing after sort of bad guys. But the game was relatively boring, so they changed it where you were the criminal being chased by the cops. But they forgot to change the code for the cops. 95 if I remember. Thank you, Minute Thread. So yeah, mid 95, so it was a little bit off, tiny little bit earlier. I thought it was 93, 94-ish. So then they switched you with the criminal, but they forgot to change the code for the cops, for the other AI cops, and they would just smash into you until you blew up. Like, they would chase you, but when they got to you, it was just carnage. They wouldn't stop, they would just kill you. You know, they would keep going until the car was destroyed. And then this idea from that came out of this ludicrous, over the top, just everyone wants to kill everyone idea that eventually became Grand Theft Auto. It was a mistake. It was a mistake at the very beginning. They made a boring game and decided to change it. They made a mistake with the code. That all just led to Grand Theft Auto. One of the most famous mascots in the entire world is obviously Mario. Mario is also a mistake. Was never supposed to be a thing. Before he was called Mario, he was called Jumpman. And that whole thing, so originally, that was an arcade machine. And if you can actually go and look this up, look at screenshots of the old Donkey Kong game. So Mario existed in Donkey Kong before Mario. And it was originally supposed to be Popeye. If anybody is aware of what Popeye is, it's an old sailor character. There was another character, I think it was called Bruno, I think it was Bruno. That was like this big Goliath hulking man who was in love with the same person that Popeye was in love with, called Olive Oil. And it was this old sort of propaganda-y type of thing, to be honest. The idea, it was like an old World War thing to encourage people to eat spinach. It became a cartoon. Became stupidly popular. They made a live-action movie with Robin Williams playing it. Nintendo got the license to make Popeye. And then the makers of Popeye pulled out, leaving Nintendo with a very nearly finished game that had all of the Popeye IP attached to it. All looked like Popeye, looked like Olive Oil, looked like Bruno. So they decided to essentially reskin it. So it was an asset flip. The original Mario game, Donkey Kong, is just an asset flip. That's all it is. So it was a mistake. Lots of things happen as a result of mistakes. So when you make a mistake, if you're ever making something, you're like, shouldn't have done that. Just go with it for a bit. See how it goes. You never know. You never know. It might turn out to be really awesome in the end. If you just give in and go with it. Enigma, what are your thoughts on the theory that the ancient city's center being a portal? 100% correct. It's in the code. They're called portal frames in the code. If you actually go through and sift through a load of the source stuff for Minecraft, the bit that makes up the surround of those are labeled as a portal frame. So they definitely are something to do with a portal. Whether they ever activate them is another matter entirely. But yeah, they are labeled as a portal frame, so I would assume that they are a portal of some kind. Whether we ever see it is another matter. I can't remember the person who discovered that. Somebody sifted through the code. Was the original discoverer of that. I have not sifted through all of the code. Because who has time for this? But, yeah, it does exist in that. Actually, we'll probably do 20% mixers, right? 20% mossy. 20% mossy stone bricks. 20% stone bricks. 20% cobblestone. And then I think just for a little bit of a differentiation, just to make it look like there's some rendering on there, we're just going to do 20% stone. There we go. I really liked the ancient city. I went throughout the entirety of the 1.19 development. Lemmings was the shit back in the day. You're damn right it was. That was like one of the very first games I think I ever remember playing was Lemmings. Or at least on the PC, I should say on the PC. The first game I remember playing was actually a game called Alex the Kid, which was an old Sega Master System game from I think 92 or something like that. Alright, so just throw in a couple of stairs. How did I mess that up so bad? What did I do there? Ah, did I put that on that one? Wait, I'm sorry, what did I do? Just get rid of those? Oh, I apparently got rid of a block on this side. Okay. Don't know why. Don't know why I did that. Don't know why I did that. That's what I was wanting to do. A little bit better. Okay, so again, ruinous. This would need to have some sort of like cracks in it, I think. So this, if you imagine this is sort of like our main entranceway. We've opened up the front. So the front on the original structure is small, right? It's a double door size. And I get why they did that. To keep the inside dark. Mobs will spawn. Originally, mobs will spawn. Not a thing anymore. We have to use mob spawners if we want them to spawn, so we can have a larger opening like this. We can also close that down. Enigma, what sort of mob do you think you're going to vote for this year? Personally, I'm going with a sniffer, but I think they all have their ups and downs. That one's a relatively easy one. It will be the tough column. 100% for me. I don't like the name of the sniffer. That upsets me as a name. Just in general, I don't think it's a good name. Originally, you can probably tell from my accent, I'm originally from the United Kingdom. I live in the United States now, but I'm English. The term sniffer has some negative connotations attached to it that I don't really like the I don't really like that element. The term sniffer, I don't want to go into detail, but it has a lot of like negative drug paraphernalia type things attached to it, and some slightly more adult themed things attached to it that I just don't think it's a great name. I think if a kid in the UK starts throwing the term sniffer around at school, they're probably gonna get you know, some attention off of teachers and possibly headmasters, principals, for those of you in the US, for using that word. So yeah, I don't think it's a great name. I think that they made a slight oversight with that name. I don't mind the. I've seen some people say they don't like the look of it as an actual mob. I don't mind the look of it. I think the look of it's alright. It's an interesting concept. I think it would be better if. Yeah, I would definitely do that. If it. The one of my issues again. This is the game designer side of me coming out. Hey, Eve, welcome to the stream. This is like the game designer side of me coming out. Mojang should know. Mojang know best, right? Like, we go to universities, you know, and stuff like that, and we go away and we learn for years how to design and make a game. And I mean, no offense to anybody that's here at all, but to completely disregard all of that knowledge, all of the thing of what you know works, what you know makes something good and involved, and then essentially throw that out for people that have no idea what they're talking about to make the choice on. And I'm not saying that some of them aren't that well thought out, although I do kind of think that to a degree. My main issue with it is there are certain mobs that the development team clearly have more hype for than others that may not win. And that's slightly disheartening for one. Like, it's not that great for them. Secondly, like, you're getting something that the developer themselves isn't a huge lover of the idea of. And what can I put? Maybe I can throw tough in. Maybe a little bit tough. Just slightly darkerish block up here. Yeah, that's a little bit nicer. So, you know, I think sometimes they can be a little bit too giving with the community, in my opinion. Again, complete opinion, like I say. There are loads of people that absolutely love doing the mob vote, and I get it. I do think that it's a great idea and it's a lot of fun. And it's a great marketing strategy. Because essentially every year without fail, we market the game for them. We're like, every year we market the game for them because we all get so invested. We all get so invested in voting and voicing it, and it creates this buzz of conversation. We go to social media and we're like, I'm going to vote for the sniffer, or I'm going to vote for the tough golem. And it spreads. So that it gets more attention. We become their marketing tool. It's a great idea. I'm not knocking it. From a business standpoint, I 100% get it. But they should know. They should know better than us. They do know better than us. He says, whilst, you know, rebuilding one of their structures. They know better than us. Now watch me make this thing. Oh dear. But yeah, no, for the most part, they know better than us. That's what I should have said. For the most part, you're always fine if you just say for the most part. If you're ever not sure on how to agree with somebody, you don't want to agree with them, but you're trying to be as diplomatic as possible, just say for the most part that's true. Just. Because you've not said that they're wrong, but you are allowing there to be room of you're wrong. So there you go, little pro tip for you there. I don't know whether to make this the main entrance or to kind of like break this up and make this like a gateway. But I think if we were to make it a gateway, it wouldn't fit, it wouldn't look right. So yeah, we probably won't do that. We'll taper this section across, and then there would be like another slightly smaller temple structure on the top there. We'll probably run like some pillar bits down here. Yeah, I think I know what I'm doing. Like I say, I didn't plan anything for this. This is completely just me chatting with you guys, having some fun, and based on what we looked at, what I think I would do, whilst maintaining it being a monolithic structure. Okay, so this whole section here would come across. Because that would become essentially where the... Why did I not put them there? Become like the broken balcony, as I'll call it. I can understand those opinions. I also think that the mob vote makes needless controversy. And I think that if it worked in a way similar to the biome vote, where you decided what should get in vote. Yeah, I like... One of my issues with the vote stuff in general is there isn't a lot of information given, so it leads people to think that certain things are possible that aren't, which isn't great. You never really want to have it where a bunch of people are like, oh, this is going to be in there, this is going to be in there, this is going to be in there, because you remember No Man's Sky? It was only a few years ago. He essentially did that, right? He was like, this will be in there. And every time he was interviewed, oh yeah, that'll be in there. It wasn't in there. They knew it. They knew they couldn't do it. They'd already gone too far into development to implement those things. It takes a while to implement stuff into Minecraft. There's always a lot of issues that they have to overcome whenever you're doing any sort of game. There's problems. So they'll get like, 2 or 3 months past this point, and people are like, wow, the sniffer's gonna allow you to create entirely new plants, which I've seen people say online, and all of this absolutely crazy stuff that's not been mentioned at all because they've been so vague in the actual video sides of it. And yet people are going to expect those things to be there now. And it's going to cause issues. Every year it causes issues without fail. People feel disappointed with the update as a result, which isn't great. You kind of don't want that. You want people to be super hyped about it, and there's a level that they kind of do that to themselves, because they don't share all of the stuff that it could do. So they don't ever explain like, oh, the sniffer, this is what it's going to be able to do. They're deliberately vague. And I think a part of that is because they can then find a way of making it work. So really you're just picking the visual and the rough idea of it. And then they can go away and they can actually make something that actually does work. After the fact. So again, like faux freedom of choice. We think we're choosing, we're not really choosing. That type of deal. But I would like to see there be a little bit more information given to us on the mobs, just to stop the speculation, because the amount of speculation vote stuff that occurs is yeah, it's extreme. Yeah, there's way too much speculation that goes goes with it. I think this one goes out. No, it's the same. So okay, we want to basically take this wall back, and I think what we'll do, I don't want it to be square. I do want it to be rectangular, but only just. Maybe too short. Yeah, that seems like it'd be something I would enjoy. Oh. So we'll pillar this side up as well. That makes sense if they did it all the same way as the biome. We could make a rough draft to show the save files. Yeah, I mean that's sort of like that's sort of the issue, right? You always have this. You're always going to have this problem with games development when you're trying to include the community, where people naturally get carried away. People get excited, and you know that's understandable. People get like this idea in their head. 𝗓𝗓𝗓 was a great example of that. 𝗓𝗓s were mentioned, and everybody pretty much online was like, oh my god, it's going to be able to generate diamonds. Like, you'll give it a diamond and it will go away and it's going to bring you more diamonds. Of course, it was never going to do that. That's such a mental idea to expect. It was never, ever, ever going to do that. That's the last thing Mojang want, is just something that will just generate items for you. It's like giving you the gnome from The Sims that allows you to like access everything. But people, that's essentially why the 𝗓𝗓 won. Like, people just went down this avenue mentally of, well, that's going to be how that works. And of course it was not how that worked at all. Okay, so when I said about overhangs, that's why I wanted this to not be a square. I want it to come out, because what I want to do is, I think what will bring out, so quite a lot of old structures, particularly things like Angkor Wat, they have what cathedrals call galleries. So these are these things that like come off the sides, and they're kind of like overhangs. Like, they're just shaded, they're open air, but roofed. So like, this would have pillars coming along it, this bit would be covered over, and we may destroy a few bits and pieces, and I think what we'll do is we'll do the one side and then move it across. I agree that people who thought that the 𝗓𝗓 would generate diamonds on the smart... Yeah. I think that's... I think that's one of the major issues is people really do get carried away with their own mental creativities when it comes to Minecraft updates. We expect too much from Mojang. We genuinely do, right? It's a part of me that does feel very sorry for them, because I'm aware that there are things that they will see, the community are like, man, can't wait for this. This is gonna, and they know that's not going to be in there. They know it's not. But they must panic. I would be panicking whenever I've done something and somebody's been like, man, that's going to be great when this gets included, and you know that you're too far down the development pipeline to include that, even if it's like 70% of people are now wanting it. You're faced with this option. Do you delay it? Do you openly admit that that's something it can't do? What do you do? So I do sympathize with them a lot with that. And it was an issue that, again, like No Man's Sky had. They kept trying to please the audience, and they knew that wasn't gonna, they knew it was not gonna be the case. That was never gonna happen. None of that stuff was ever gonna be there. But they, you know, they kind of committed to just talking nonsense. I'm just going to copy this wall around back here, and then seal this section off so it doesn't have a door back here. For now, we'll do something fancy-ish around there. So I'm kind of rather than going sort of like straight temple, and it's one of the things that I would say is an area of Minecraft that I wish was. Oh, an Enigma shit. Hey, 𝗘𝗡𝗚𝗚𝗘, welcome to the stream. One of the things that I wish that Mojang would do a little bit more of is general creativity. And by that, what I mean is when you're making something, the Strider, the Sniffer, they're not creative names. You come up with something interesting. A couple of things, like people on my Discord, they were like we had like, I think I suggested the name the 𝗕𝗢𝗫𝗛𝗚. Somebody else, the Seeker. You can come up with some really cool names that are a little bit more interesting, I think. But you know, that's kind of what I'd like to see from Mojang. I'd like to see them do a little bit more. The Seeker's a way better name. Well, I think almost anything's a better name than than the Sniffer, which is just a really bad name in my opinion. But yeah, I'd like to see a little bit more in the creativity side. They tend to name things based on its primary function. So the Warden. Why is it called the Warden? Because it's there as the protector. It walks around the ancient city and can, you know, seek you out. It's a Warden. The Strider. Why is it called the Strider? It strides through lava. Like they're very vanilla base sort of turn, like not very creative. I'd like to see a little bit more creativity in their naming conventions. They should add flowers on a stick, and then you could ride the Sniffer. Oh, I like that idea. What a absolutely mental idea. The stick would take you to the nearest flower that's on the stick. That would be an interesting thing, like a way to find more flowers. However, flowers, the way that flowers generate, have you ever seen how flowers generate in Minecraft? They generate based on the purling noise. And it's almost like a big heat map. And the way they generate is spectacular to look at if you were just to cover an entire world, like a flat world in flowers. They look amazing. They're really like just crazy psychedelic patterns everywhere. Warden works well because it sounds so ominous. Oh no, I agree. Yeah, no, there are names that do work very, very well. I'm aware that I'm not doing any patterning right now. We will texturize, but for now geometry. Imagine you hear an intense sniffing noise. And then look outside and your friend is riding past your base hunting flowers on their Sniffer. Yeah, I can see the this is the thing. I can see the amusing appeal of the Sniffer as a mob. I'm not a huge lover of it as a mob in comparison to some of the others. I say some of the others. It's the second best. The Rascal's terrible. Can we all agree on that at least? The Rascal's awful. I have very strong feelings about the Rascal. Don't like it. Don't like the Rascal. Like they lost me immediately in the actual video for the Rascal because, and to quote them, they said, "Oh well, when you get tired of mining." Okay, let me stop you right there. Let's put on my serious Enigma box. If you don't want to mine in a game called Minecraft, you're playing the wrong game. There are millions of games out there. Literally millions. Millions upon millions of the bloody things. They're everywhere. If you don't want to mine, don't play on a game called Minecraft. It's not for you. It's not for you if you're not interested in it. Don't play it. There's other games out there. It's not a World War II battle simulator. There's games for that. It's not a MOBA game. There's games for that. It's not an MMO. There's games for that. It's a game about mining and crafting. If you want to mine and craft, chef's kiss, this is the game for you. If you don't want to do those things, if you don't want to mine, you don't want to craft, don't play Minecraft. So I should replace... Actually, I can just press up and then switch that out, right? Yeah, I can just do that. Stone. What's my name? Make battle bots. Oh, that would be fun. I would like to do... I have some plans for Season 2 of Random Craft that I've started to implement this week, which won't be seen till obviously the next episode. And I realise now that I've already given stuff away based on me just saying that. So apologies if you didn't want any spoilers. But yeah, I have some great plans for Season 2. I've been really enjoying Season 2 of Random Craft. I am working on more tutorials. I'm aware. All the people that have requested build tutorials, I'm aware. Please stop hounding me. For the love of Christ, please stop hounding me. I'm aware. It's very difficult to find all the time to get like tutorials for absolutely everything. There are tutorials from like 8 months ago. That's a lie. A year ago that I've still not got around to doing yet. I very nearly want like a very old. I built a steampunk airship last October, late September. People have asked for a tutorial on that for ages. I started doing it. I did start doing a tutorial. It's very big. It's a very big build. I don't think I have it loaded into this world, but if I do /warp 𝗕𝗢𝗫𝗛𝗬. Let me see if I can find where my build area is. There are spoilers here, naturally. I'm going to finish this build off at some point. It's an old rocket. More builds. Where would that be located then? I reorganized a bunch of these worlds and I get lost. But I'd like to also point out, not all of these builds are mine. It's working. He's getting sidetracked. Look, I always get sidetracked. I need little encouragement on getting sidetracked. If you were here for consistency, you've come to the wrong stream, my friends. These aren't all my builds. This is a build server that the randoms build on. So this is like, for example, these builds here. These are all sort of stuff built by 𝗲𝗏, except these two builds here. These are two of my builds from 𝗕𝗢𝗫𝗏𝗏 in Season 1. All of the randoms use this server as a build of Lags from Season 1. There's a thing of Lag's face. There's some stuff that's never been in any episodes. This was the first project me and Lag worked on to get... Actually, that's not true. This was the first project me and Lag worked on for another server. This was another one. This has just turned into a bloody tour video. That's what this has turned into. That's not what I'm after doing. I'm not supposed to be doing tour videos. I'm just trying to find where that thing is. Let's have a look over here. Trees. This is Timesoft. This is a real life friend of mine who's, as you can see, a little bit redstone crazy. I thought I was near that though. I really did think I was near that. No, no, and no. That's season 1 stuff. Ah, I've got to be near it. I'm sure those tasks were something to do with something I was doing once upon a time. Ah, here we go. This airship. I found it. So, I started doing the tutorial. As you can see, there's lots of different versions where I was like showing the different stages of construction and stuff. I'm doing this just to prove point. I did work on this. It's different to the one that was in the video as well. It's slightly more grand. It's a longer ship. It's more galleon-esque than brigantine and stuff. I worked on it, guys. I really did. Genuinely, all those people that have suggested that and asked me for it. I got about... I'm going to say about 75% of the way, about 3/4 of the way through recording. And anybody that has watched my episodes from last year will be aware that I had a severe computer-related issue. And my Minecraft stopped working. And I had, real problems. And this recording, yeah, it went. It went. Yeah, the whole recording went. And it's a long tutorial. It's a full block for block tutorial. And I have to completely redo it. And it's like 3 hours, 4 hours worth of work. And yeah, I will redo it though. I do promise I will redo it. At some point. Today is not that point though. There we go. Back to my build world, because this is... So we have our own build worlds on here. This is my build world. I need to make sure I go out the right door, which is this one, because there's spoilers out of that door. Now the next question is going to be, can I find where I put this over here? Wait, Enigma, I have an idea. Okay. Shoot. Oh wow, I absolutely love airships. This one's amazing. Thank you, 𝗕𝗡𝗏𝗜𝗓𝗏. As I say, I will turn it into a mech. Just turn the temple into a it's an Enigma build. How can you tell? Like one of those artist things. When you go to a thing, you're like, is this a Da Vinci? Is this a Picasso? Is this a... No, is this an Enigma? You should be able to tell. How do you tell? Well, does it turn into a robot? I tell you what, at some point I'll try and do something like that. That does sound like it'd be fun. Turning every structure into some sort of battle mech. Alright, so we wanted to put pillars in here, make this big gallery, so we're gonna need to do something on this. This is a bit blank. Turn me into a battle mech. I wish I could turn me into a battleneck. A battleneck. That's when you've got like a really thick neck. Just a really thick, chunky boy neck. That's a battleneck. Okay, so we'll do one there. And then one there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Counting with Enigma. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll move 2 out either side. But yeah, one of the main things for doing tutorials is it can be time consuming. It's not always. Sometimes it's fine, and I'm working on a couple of tutorials at the moment. I'm actually working on 4 new tutorials at the moment. That I'm aiming to get done within the next like week or so. That have been things that people have suggested, funnily enough, because that tends to be... I'm trying to get through like a backlog of stuff. I got very ill earlier this year, and I ended up not getting a lot done. So at some point I will. I've been sitting on my chair for an hour. I deserve to have a mech made in my image. I mean, as a Minecraft player, you should be used to sitting on your chair for copious amounts of time. I think there are times where I'm not sure where my ass ends and where my chair begins. I've been sat for so long doing stuff in Minecraft, to be honest. I like that. Not particularly. But, again, happy accidents. We'll work on it more. Put some stairs into the bottom. That's probably where the issue lays. Should we probably do this? What's this? I give me server IP and I can make a mech in my own image. If only. I am planning on sorting a community server at some point that will be based on some of the work that I've done for this server. This isn't my server. This is actually owned by the Lag Monster. This is a server that he made for the randoms to be able to do stuff. Well, I did a bunch of I did the setup stuff for him. But I am planning on doing I think on my Ko-fi it's called the test server, the enigmatic supporters server. And the idea is that it will be kind of like based on this, that it will be like a creative server that people will be able to go onto and make nice looking builds in different areas. Because if I type /warps here, you'll see we have fantasy worlds, the spawn, history world, landscape world, map world, modern world, redstone, sci-fi, wacky, the end, 𝗘𝗢𝗫𝗚𝗔𝗗, 𝗘𝗢𝗫𝗚�17, 𝗘𝗢𝗫𝗚𝗫, the Season 2 hub, which I definitely can't click on, my private build world, and Lag Monster's private build world. We're currently in my private build world. So all of the randoms use this. They, if you're doing sci-fi stuff, like 𝗕𝗢𝗫𝗚𝗓 was doing some sci-fi things, he'll use the sci-fi build world and make stuff over on there. I'll use my own private one. Sometimes I'll use the sci-fi one, depending on what it is I'm doing. But we all kind of make different bits and pieces here and there. And it's not just randoms. There are a couple of our actual friends. Timesoft, for example, he made those redstone machines we flew past. He's a real life friend of mine. I've known him for 15 years. Bloody heck, yeah, 15 years. We studied games design and development together. He's a really good coder. So quite often, he would do the coding, and I would make everything look pretty. That tended to be how we worked. When do you think the community server will go live? I'm not sure yet. I need, what I'm looking for at the moment is more people to help me actually run the community, because I'm aware that there are people that enjoy watching the stuff that I put out. Doing all of the editing, all of the... You gotta remember, like, when we're doing random craft in particular, that's a story-driven thing. We quite a lot of us have stories we're telling you all, and where the writers, where the actors, where the directors, where the editors, and where the people that do the marketing as well. Like, everything is handled by us individually. And that takes up a lot of time and effort. The amount of effort that the randoms put in, I love all of them, all of the randoms. I know we have, like, just like other SMPs out there, we have storylines where there's, like, arguments, the seance versus science and stuff. That's a common thing. 𝗕𝗢𝗫𝗚𝗓𝗏's character and 𝗕𝗓𝗫𝗓𝗏's character despising seance and magic and favouring science, and Lag Monster and the magician being all magical and stuff and upsetting them. But we are all, we're all really good friends. Really, really good friends. more so than pretty much any other SMP out there. The randoms, you know, we all know what each other looks like. We know each other's real names. We know each other's families and stuff. We're very, very close. And I love all of them. They're all absolutely fantastic people. And the amount of work, hard effort work that goes into random craft by every single one of them, absolutely amazes me. And we've had some issues this season. 𝗕𝗏𝗫, for example. I love 𝗕𝗏𝗫, as some of you might not have ever seen her content. She's in South Africa, and they have some electricity problems, let's just say, at the moment in South Africa. Where for pretty much the entirety of the day, people in Africa just don't have power in South Africa. So she's not been around as much. She's thoroughly missed. Absolutely love 𝗕𝗏𝗫. She's hysterically funny. And her pranks are beautiful. Although, 𝗕𝗏𝗫, if you do end up watching this at some point, don't forget we still have our prank truce. We're not allowed to prank each other, remember this. Last season, 𝗕𝗏𝗫 and I got a little bit carried away with pranks in Season 1 of Random Craft, and we very nearly broke the server. Actually, I'll rephrase that. I very nearly broke the server. And had to fix it. But yeah, so we have a truce, because we get carried away, and neither of us like losing. So, we ended up nearly breaking the server as a result. Community server wise, hopefully at some point, like I say, I'm looking for people to help me actually run the community. I have a Discord that's new, that, you know, I have people on there that are helping me look after it at the moment. I could do with somebody or a couple of people that are more regular to help look after that side, keep the community going, and you know, keep people pumped and having fun and stuff. I don't ever really like the me versus you mentality of some YouTubers. I am absolutely nothing without, you know, you guys tuning in to watch and enjoy yourselves. I'm extremely grateful of anybody that wants to sit and listen to my voice for bloody hours. But do the randoms ever consider a 2D online map for viewers to see? There actually is one. It's not for the current season. It's for season 1, but there is a 2D online map. So Random Craft has a wiki. I don't remember the address for it off the top of my head. I think it's randomcraft.fandom. And you can find out all sorts of stuff on there, but there is a season 1 map on there, so you can kind of look and see where points of interest are. I've actually had to use it in the past just to remember things that I like anybody that's on my Discord, on my community Discord, can tell you this. I don't plan my episodes. I don't pre-plan things. I don't script or anything like that. I don't believe in it. I don't like it. I think if I had to do that, I think I'd stop making content. So a lot of the time I have to very quickly come up with things. I also suffer from severe short-term memory loss, which is why my streams tend to be as unhinged as they appear. So as a result of that, sometimes I forget what I'm doing in an episode. I'll forget what it was I did in the last one and stuff. So I'll use the wiki at times just to remember what the hell it is I was doing. Like, what was I doing again? Oh, there's a wiki thing for this. I can check. I'm about to go on to 𝗕𝗢𝗫𝗛𝗔𝗗 to build a mech. and you are going to look at it. Yeah, definitely do. I mean, again, if you've not joined the Discord, you definitely should. There's links somewhere. There's somewhere there's links to my community Discord as opposed to the RandomCraft one. People are sharing all sorts of bits and pieces on there. I actually know something. I'm going to share this with you all here first now. I'm very excited about one of the things that a community member is making. 𝗕𝗢𝗓𝗓, who's one of the fellow randoms, as dumb as he comes across in his episodes, he's a very talented person. He's a good friend. He is making me a real life robot of 𝗕𝗢𝗫𝗓𝗓 from RandomCraft, because he does robotics and build stuff and things. So he's making me an 𝗕𝗓𝗫𝗓 to sit on my desk that is an actual little robot. So he's going to be sharing images of the build logs and stuff like that on my Discord. So if you are interested in seeing those sorts of things, then they'll be on there as well. Okay, I'm more or less happy with the foundation of that. So let's just grab this. And then come down here. Now he's a very talented 𝗕𝗢𝗓𝗓. He hides it well. He hides it very well. There we go. We should now have more of a square up here. This back bit will probably be more intact, actually. I think the front would be more run down than the back. So we'll start building that up in a second. Just want to kind of make sure we've got a roughish square. Yeah, I think we'll go somewhere around there. Structure up here. These will be side wings. And then inside there will be the stairs to go down. Some internal pillars, maybe running down here, kind of make it vaulty. Yeah, I think that's good. Okay, so I think what we'll do is put that there and there, so that's connected up. Let's run straight across there now. Yes. Okay, so let's fix up this back bit. Grab a few more of these blocks. Anything that anybody makes, especially if it's something that's sort of like robots or anything like that, I'm always interested. Always interested in seeing it. And if it's something inspired by something I've done as well, I'm even more so. So I really dove? Ah, yes, I dove. Really do love looking at the things that everybody does. I've seen some amazing things that people have done with like tutorials and just showcases and stuff that I've done. I have a battle mech. Yeah, I really love seeing it all. So like I'm as I was saying before, I'm not like a me versus you. Like, it's very much us. Like, I'm very thankful for everybody that tunes in and enjoys watching RandomCraft episodes, and tunes in and enjoys watching the tutorials and stuff that I do. Boss music starts playing. Flames is a real life friend of mine. Again, I've known Flames. He also is a game developer / designer, former student, and makes games. He's currently making a few games. I've been fortunate enough to be able to test out one of those recently. It's looking like it's going to be an interesting game. But I've known him for the same amount of time as Timesoft, like 15 years. See, I think one of the problems I'm going to have here is I might need to make it, because I think these are 3 between, right? And these are more than those, like double, 2, 3, 6. Yeah, so I need to like go 3 blocks narrower, which is fine. We can do that. It's not a problem. Grab there and over here. And then come down here and do / cut. 1, 2, 3 / paste. There we go. That's better. Now it's more squared off. I know this bit isn't, but it will be on the top. So whatever this is this way back will be the same from this side to this side, so that we end up with a square in the center. Because as we destroy bits, we want it to kind of look like it's like a tower thing. So I'm kind of basing some of this off of some of the old historical paintings of the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. Obviously Babylon was supposed to be this huge luscious plant sort of thing, so I'm kind of, given the fact of how luscious jungles are, I've kind of like got some of that in my head. Also, a very, and I do mean a very long time ago, it was one of the first mega builds I think I ever made, was I made the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, which I wish I could show you it. But I got about 4 months into building it, because this was a long time ago. This was before we had the use of things like World Edit and stuff like that at our fingertips. Every block in that I placed by hand, and then Notch released an update which corrupted the world, and I lost all of it. And I didn't play Minecraft, I think, for about a year, because I was really salty about it. I was very upset. I'm still slightly upset about it. Whenever somebody complains, like, oh well, Microsoft have ruined Minecraft, they haven't. The stuff that they've done with it is way beyond the scope of what Notch, I think, could have done. That's not to say I dislike Notch completely. I don't believe in some of his beliefs that he has. I think he needs to not be quite as active as he is with his mouth. But can't take away the fact that he did make this game. Most, but not all. Oh wait, what's that in relation to? Random fact at the moment. Most whales don't own real estate. I mean, does anybody really ever own real estate? I mean, you never really truly own... You can own the building, right? But you never really truly own the land anymore, I think, in modern cultures. Just the banks own most of it. Banks are the modern day version of churches. It used to be once upon a time that the church owned the most amount of land. People would obviously leave the church land and stuff, and they also did a huge land grab, particularly in the UK, where I'm from. Huge swathes of land were owned by the church at one point. Not so much anymore. Most of it's owned by banks. Trying to add a little bit more breakiness to some of this. Eventually we'll be adding in some of the lusciousness to this, some leafy stuff. Leafy goodness as well, I'll call it. I'm going to call it leafy goodness. We'll add some leafy goodness in to kind of make this feel like it would blend into a jungle a little bit more than it currently looks like it would. And that's one of the other issues with the original build, by the way, is because it looks so new. British Enigma confirmed. I think that was confirmed by my accent and love of Yorkshire tea. Yes. I live in the United States. It's where my wife's from. So I live in the US, but I'm 100% English. In fact, my friends in the UK, when they found out I was moving here, they would joke and say that I'm so English that I'd leave on the plane to come here to live, and what would arrive would just be an empty seat with a top hat and a cup of tea on it, because that's all of me that would exist anymore. Because I am very stereotypically English. That in there. Yeah, I'm aware, everyone. I'm aware. I could do this a lot faster by just world editing everything. But, you know, some people are far too reliant on world edit. Well, one of the problems that I have with world edit, it's a great tool, don't get me wrong, fantastic tool, but you get carried away very quickly with world edit. What starts off as a relatively easygoing, simplistic build becomes monumental in a matter of moments because you just can. And because you can, you do, quite often. And the issue there is it will lose the scope of being vanilla-esque. This sits nicely and way under what a woodland mansion sits at. The footprint of this is not much bigger. In fact, it might be slightly smaller, actually, thinking about it. In fact, it is smaller than a jungle temple. No, that's a jungle temple. Than a desert temple is in vanilla. So I'm well within the scope here of a vanilla structure. I always get worried whenever I'm using something like world edit that I'm just going to be like, and something there, and something there. And before I know it, what I have is like a 300 block diameter huge thing. So to try and keep it within the scope of vanilla. I was always confused between the T accent and the location. Yes, yeah, I live in the US now. I moved here about, I think it was like 3 weeks before COVID hit. Annoyingly. So that was fun. It was a fun time. I loved that. It was great. I did not love that. That's sarcasm. I really didn't love that. It was horrible. It slowed everything down. So when you move to a country, you kind of still go through like the immigration process and stuff like that. It was just a pain. Okay, I finished my... Oh, hello. Let's deal with that. There we go. That's okay. That happens. Finish my very complicated MS Paint Minecraft build blueprint. I'm gonna take a 4 or 5 minute break. Or MS Paint thing. MS Paint drawing. I get worried when I hear somebody say I've done a drawing in MS Paint. I'm sure yours is beautiful though, 𝗕𝗡𝗚𝗏𝗏. I'm sure it's great. It will not question it. Okay, this one goes up, so I kind of want to make this bit a little bit more going across, I think. I don't mind a bit being eaten away, but I don't want it to go quite as far. Okay. I think we're ready to start doing like the next layer up, I think. So I'm gonna do a little bit of block counting now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So let's be 20 across this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So one there and one there will make our 20. So that's essentially what we have to do. We have to put a wall along here, wall along there, and then just flush that up on the fronts. And I may actually do an 18 just so I've got a little bit more leeway on these front bits so I can get like a little bit of pillaring in. So I think we'll do an 18 instead of a 20. The main reason for that is just to leave a little bit more for some detailing, like I say, pillars and stuff like that. So there's a little bit more room to breathe. And this upstairs section, again, like I'm trying to keep there upstairs, so we can put in like a little spawner and stuff. But I think I want to throw down a chest in there with maybe a sword or something. I think that would be a nice thing to add in. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So it was actually one further in than that. And that is because this side I needed to go one further out. So this side would be there. Okay. There we go. Right, let's figure out height. Height's going to be important. It's slightly too high. Yeah, something about there seems like it's alright. I may shave some off after. But for now, I think that's a good height to go with. And then what we'll do is we'll just remove that and change that to be a set. And across here. That should leave that lip at the front so we can fill this bit in. Okay, soon we're going to be able to move on to interior design. When I say interior design, though, I'm kind of thinking of it more in terms of actual level design. So level design, doing like interiors, and doing like interiors when, you know, you think of me as a builder doing interiors, they're two different things. Like, we have to think about like shape, function, user flow, things like that. They're very useful bits and pieces to bear in mind, like what direction. A great example actually of user flow, supermarkets in real life will use it, user flow. So they'll supermarkets will often influence your behavior the moment you walk in through the door. Humans prefer to go from left to right the same way we read in Western civilizations. That's just so. Quite often when you go into a store, they will have things organized on the left, then the right. And they'll also do things like they'll put the bread and the milk, which are the two most common items, the furthest apart in the store, because they're the two most common items. So they're the things that you're most likely going to need. And by spacing them apart, you have to pass lots of other things where they can put specials and stuff like that. So they think about the user flow in a different way to just general design aspects. And it's kind of similar to doing game design. We think about how the player will interact with things like stairs, how easy the flow is to move around. Do we want to make it a little bit more difficult? Will I be putting traps in the temple? Possibly. I might not do it on this stream. I'm kind of focusing more on sort of just keeping the aesthetic of this old build, but doing slightly more detail stuff and keeping it within the scope of vanilla. I may do it in another stream, where we'll sort of like split this up and kind of do like a couple of parts. Because as I say, I'm doing this more from a games designer's perspective. I want to keep everything to be vanilla. And although I have played Minecraft for many years, there are still some bits that I would have to sit and ruminate on as to whether I think that would be vanilla enough, whether that would be something that I could consider as being a vanilla thing, whether it'd be suitable or not when it comes to certain design choices that I might make. Alright, so yeah, we definitely want pillars here. I think what we might do is put like a little bit on there. Like a little overhang coming over here, a rounded sort of deal somewhere around there-ish. Be slightly wider than that though. So it'd be a 2. Random fact of the moment: cats don't understand us, but at the same time do not care. Another random fact about cats: cats don't naturally meow. It's not a thing that they do. It's something they only do for humans. So I like the idea of there being like a door. I think I do. Not a door, but maybe like a large sort of window element. The other thing that I'm trying to bear in mind with these is, like I say, like one of the primary things that I end up using these structures quite often for, and a thing that I'm aware that many players do, is you come across this and it becomes like a temporary home. Like it's a quick starter base, you know? Throw a couple of doors on, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces of glass. So it's like literally like six blocks. It's just one set of panes. You get 16 out of that. Throw down what, one? Actually, probably not even that anymore. It would be like one up there, one down here, 2 or 3 down there. 5 torches. 5 torches, 2 doors, one stack, one thing of panes of glass. You've got yourself a quick, easy base. That's what you've got. I don't think I've ever found a natural jungle temple. Also, I've never killed the dragon in survival. You're missing out, 𝗘𝗡𝗜𝗏. Killing the dragon is a lot of fun. I'm hoping one of the randoms redoes last season, in season 1, 𝗕𝗢𝗫𝗛𝗔𝗗 did a game, like an event, that was called the Great Dragon Hunt, which I thoroughly enjoyed. It was a lot of fun to do. I ended up winning it because he didn't put a rule in, which I abused. So I did the speedrunner strat for taking on the dragon, which is the bed strat, you know. I did this thing in the last server I was in, killed the dragon 250 times. Whatever floats your boat, Minute Thread. That is a hefty amount. Why did you kill it so many times? Were you after the eggs by any? Because I know you do redstone, right? Like, were you... Was this for voiding bedrock? Or, like, was this just for some funsies, or... Because you used to be able to use the eggs, right? Too many end crystals. Just don't make so many end crystals. But okay. I suppose that's valid. Absolute mad lad. Yeah, because I don't know if you can anymore use eggs to still void bedrock, right? You used to be able to. I don't think you can anymore. The thing is, I only play on public multiplayer server, so there's loads of people all swarming it, and I'm absolutely petrified of mobs anyway. I mean, if you go in wearing a pumpkin on your head, carved pumpkin, you're pretty safe. Oh, paper servers. Oh, that cuts me deep. I've had my fair... Oh yeah, no, it's awful. For redstone, it is awful. It has like tick delays and like random tick speed things that mess up. Like it like tries to stave things off and do things in batches, and the way it counts is different, and it's just... Oh, it's awful. And by default, a lot of people don't change the paper.yml. I'm aware that we're going into some real nerdy talk now. But, yeah, a lot of the time, like, admins and stuff, when they're setting up the server, don't change the paper.yml to turn off fast hoppers and stuff. So hopper clocks don't work. Nothing works. It's horrible. 𝗕𝗢𝗫𝗛𝗏, do you think it would be cool to put completely caved in parts in the underground section? Yes, I think that would be a good way of slowing down the player. So you're faced with the option of mining it, especially if you're being chased by skeletons and stuff like that. Okay, so say you've got like this, let's just really quickly make a little one wide chamber. This would be wider than this naturally, but for now, let's just, there we go. And then you come to like this option where you can do this, right? So imagine you're being chased by mobs, and you come down this is like your first tunnel section. So you come down here, and you're faced with the option: do you go this way or do you go this way? And you run down here, and then this goes around a corner like this, and then it's blocked off. Not completely, it's just blocked off to the point where you're like, I need to break through it. It's like a collapsed pillar or something. Because if you're being chased by mobs, that suddenly becomes like a oh crap moment. Like an oh no, what have I done? And they're things that they make for good content, which again is something that I often think about when I'm whenever I'm sort of like designing something, I'm like, would that be fun to watch somebody come across that? Which was the whole underlying principle of I made a game in season 1 called 𝗕𝗢𝗫𝗚𝗓, which a lot of the randoms were too scared to play, in honesty. They're absolute wusses. They're like, the idea was you sort of entered 𝗕𝗓𝗫𝗚𝗓's brain, and you had to like navigate through these little like narrow paths, and you like crawled on your belly everywhere. And then there was like these little secret bits that would drop you to the floor, and you would land into a different phobia of mine. So one would suffocate you to death. One dropped you into a pit of lava. One dropped you into a pit that was full of ravagers. And you only had like 5 minutes to try and navigate this labyrinth. And when you got to the end, you would win some Enigma plushies, which you could exchange for a random amount of diamonds. I think the highest, was like 16 blocks of diamonds you could win. So it was a difficult game. Mostly because it didn't tell you how long you had. So you didn't know how long you had left. And rather than it just killing you when the 5 minutes was up, which was my original thing, I had like the ceiling lined with dispensers with lava buckets in, so it would like flood it and just kill the player off. I decided that I made like a bunch of redstone contraptions on hopper clocks that would, as the player moved around, it would open and close certain paths and stuff. So the maze was always changing around them, so they would like go down a bit and then try and go back, and they suddenly couldn't go back anymore to mess with them. And then the 5 minute thing, it would just seal the real exit off. So if they took longer than 5 minutes, they were just trapped in my mind forever, and had to essentially face their phobia. And it was a super fun mini game. I had a load of fun designing it. It was a lot of redstone, which I'm not naturally great with. I don't know what I'm going to do, so I'm going to make a massive Enigma statue. Do you think you would incorporate Skulk into this build at all? I really like Skulk. I really like the whole Skulk stuff. I genuinely do. I don't know if it would necessarily fit with a temple. I think that's my main issue there. That's in the overworld. Again, I could make it fit as a story-based element. Obviously, the ancient city is called the Ancient City. You could easily adapt the, a narrative for Minecraft. These big old ancient structures that are dotted around the overworld. Perhaps they worshipped the ancients. And something terrible happened. You could have some sort of like thing where perhaps the ancients are like became unhappy, and there's like huge, imagine like a crack in this wall, and then like around it is Skulk. Like it's like almost like the gods became unhappy with them and started to destroy things. You could do all sorts of this really fun stuff narratively as a story to keep things interesting. Mojang aren't really a fan of that sort of thing, so they don't really do it. So it doesn't really feel vanilla to do so. But ordinarily, that would be something I would explore for definite. Oh yeah, I get it. Like Skulk sensors. If you could hide them out of the way, so they're not visible as well. So that's more interesting than tripwires, definitely. Tripwire hooks. They're obviously tripwire hooks. It's like the trapped chest, right? You got a trapped chest. Right. There. You get a real chest. Okay, that is clearly a trapped chest. Like, it's... Look at it. It's got this big red ring that goes around it. Again, I was talking to Archon about the trapped chest. I think it'd be better if it would they were identical except the texturing. So like, see how this has got like this particular shape of this green brown. If they had two slightly different variant textures, so it was slightly harder to spot. I remember the days when you had to alternate trap to normal chests. Oh boy, so do I. Those were the days. Because before that you couldn't put a chest next to another chest. Well, you could for a double chest, but you couldn't put a chest next to that. So before trapped chests became a thing, we had to do this horrible thing where we would do like... It's like you couldn't do this. You had to do like that and then put like a block in or a wall and then do another one. And that used to be the way you'd do it. It would, yeah, old Minecraft. And then people say this game's got worse since since Microsoft bought it. Definitely not. Some of the old things were very upsetting. Very, very upsetting indeed. I often forget about how much has really changed in this game. And then somebody will mention something like that, and I'm like, oh god, cry, no, I remember this was horrible. Now, don't get me wrong, chat. I don't think everything that Microsoft have done with this game has been good. But in the grand scheme of things, they have done more good than bad, that's for sure. And that's all you can really hope for with a developer, is that they will do more good than bad with decisions that they're making. Did you see the 1.2 trailer? It might give some good inspiration on what the build could look like. I did not. I'll have to try and have a little look at it during a little break here. I'm going to have a break in about 15 minutes. For 5 minutes. Take a little 5-minute break, just so I can make a fresh cup of tea. Okay, so I think the top bit of this will kind of do... I don't want to completely... This is the other thing. I don't want to completely, like, overhaul. Like, you can see, like, this and that bit there are similar. Like, the bottom section is... And then there's an upper bit. We've got this whole in-out thing. So this bit's narrower than this section. And then it goes back in with this bit here. So we've tried to keep that sort of thing with, like, this bit's out and this bit's in. We've reversed it because it makes more sense that it'd be heavier weighted on the bottom than the top. But we're trying to keep similar ideas. So I think when it comes to the top, we'll kind of do a similar-ish thing to that. Try and come up with something a little bit more interesting. In the 1.2 trailer, there was a custom jungle. I will have to have a... Was this 1.2 for adventure mode, story mode, or was this for vanilla? I'm guessing it's for story, right? I think somebody mentioned story mode earlier. One with the iron column on the thumbnail. I'm sure I could find that. I will take a look here in a few moments. I'll tell you what, I'll take my break a little bit earlier, and I'll have a little cheeky look. Have a little look at it. I'm gonna go 2 in. Did we go all the way to the wall? Yes, we did. Okay. That section there is where we're going to put essentially another one of these up here, but the roof section is going to be sloped. It's going to come sort of down a little bit like this, and then there'll be some pillars here. That way the windows in here will still be in shade, so we can still put like the spawners in. It will still be dark enough in this room, this upper room, once this room's done, to have it where it seems like it should be spawning stuff. But yeah, I will take a look at that that video for sure. I don't really look at a lot of, I think, story mode stuff and things like that often. Just fill all of this in one block first and then texture it. Or a smart thing to have done would have been just to copy and paste the other side, but I don't want it to be completely symmetrical because asymmetry is good for ruins. They don't tend to be symmetrical. That's not how weathering works. That'll do. It's slightly lighter, but it's fine. And then we need to do this carved section here, and then all the way down here. Yeah, a little bit too much in there for that. A little bit of that. Let's get a little bit of that in there, shall we? There we go. Okay. Now, before I take this little break of mine, would you guys like to see something sneaky? Would you like a spoiler? All right. Okay. Let's go back to my little starting section. Oh, the server's struggling to keep up with me. I'm sorry, server. To be fair, I don't think this server's been restarted in several months, which may be an issue. My middle name is Sneak. Taco Sneak Cat. So this is one thing. This is something that I'm working on with Archon at the moment. It's an N-Tech version of the X-Wing from X-Men. I'm still working on texturing. As you can see, I really don't use World Edit. Like, I'm texturing as I go. Every now and then, I'll do a little bit more texturing. But that isn't what I'm going to show you. This is my build world. So this has got stuff that I've shared images of on social media, but I've not shared too much of, like the updated Raptor, this build, which was a request by somebody. I can't remember who requested this build. I'd have to check through comments. But yes, that's something they'll be in a video, as will the monorail, which is over here, and then there's all of the robots. The ships are over there, and then artillery's over here and stuff. Oh, and there's the 𝗕𝗢𝗜𝗓, the jelly 𝗕𝗓𝗓 from the Rebuild for Scar event that I was a part of, where I turned Good Times with Scars, cat jelly, into a version of the AT-AT from Star Wars. But again, that's not what I'm going to show you. Just deviating away. Well, let's go to spectator mode a sec so I can zip around. So, let's wait for this to load. This mono tutorial. That's absolutely. I know. I've actually been asked 3 times already before it's even out yet. Like, but people have been like, monorail. Do the monorail as a tutorial. I will. I promise. Let's pop some shaders on for a moment. So this is the start of my base for Season 2. Not done yet. I've still got some more work to do on this. But this will be part of my Season 2 build that I will be building for the next episode. You're lagging out the stream. Oh yeah. Let's disable that. There we go. For some reason, although I'm not lagging in game, yeah, I was checking OBS there, and yeah, you're right. It was my OBS, which to be fair needs updated, so it could be that. Yeah, I've got like a little bit more work to do on this before. Some bits I'm not 100% happy with and things, so a little bit more to do on there. I may do a stream next week where I actually do some proper bits of work on this on the interior side. This is a holographic projection plate, is what this is. It's part of the Season 2 base. It's not actually my Season 2 base. This is just the bit I need to make my Season 2 base. But yeah, that's I've got that to finish at some point. But to be fair, some of this might just be... Yeah, some of this might just be the server as well, to be fair. Ah, there we go. This is another thing that me and Lag were working on relatively recently. He was wanting to make some like more steampunky sort of artillery type things. So we made this thing which fires. Turn that on. Yes, it had to be covered over. Alright, well, where was I building? Over here. This is where we were. So yeah, this is my bit. I know it's very, very flat, and there's lots of grids everywhere because I build everything in like a very neat, organized way. This light grey concrete, that's my active build section. So inside that bit can be messy. Outside has to be organized. I'm a bit of a neat freak with stuff like that. Great idea for the interior of the temple or of my Season 2 build. Fill it with water and axolotls, as you do. Both. Fill both with axolotls and water. Alright, let's do that. Big temple. No, small temple. This is actually still smaller than the footprint of the desert temple. Try to keep everything so it can still be loaded in monolithically. And also, hey Donator, welcome to the stream, man. Hope you're having a nice day. It's been a while since we've spoke. But that might be I say might be. It 100% is my fault. I should visit your creative world. It needs some organization. I mean, sometimes disorganization can be helpful. Like if I'm doing art, like actual traditional art, that can be very messy. But yeah, we're slowly hashing out some ideas, Donator, on this temple. So I've already gone through a bunch of game design elements of this. I'm aware that quite a few people watching now that weren't earlier. I will run through them very quickly. So aesthetically, obviously, when this was made a very long time ago, only three blocks were used. These three. This one is only used in 3 places for the levers, so I don't really count it as a part of the aesthetic. It's literally a call to action block, essentially. It's like, hey, levers are here. Mossy cobblestone, back when this was made, was not craftable because it was pre 1.8, so these served a fair amount of purpose. It no longer does. The loot that you get in them, you only really get diamonds, redstone's visible. Yeah, we don't need these anymore, as somebody pointed out earlier on. No, because they're not aesthetic, they're function blocks, which is different when we're doing game design. They serve a function, not an aesthetic. They aid the aesthetic, but they're a function block. They wouldn't necessarily have to be there or in the configurations that they're in for it to sell the overall look or feel of the place. But yeah, as somebody pointed out, sculk sensors could be used, exposed redstone, so on and so forth, blah blah. And then the upper floor literally has no purpose at all anymore. The upper floor originally spawned mobs. It's under light level 7. Does not do anything in the later versions of Minecraft because it has to be light level 0. So whereas up here originally spawned skeletons and stuff back in the day, it no longer does. So these are the areas that we're sort of working on rectifying, giving it a better loot and so on, allowing, when I say better loot, something that gives you a reason to go there. There is no reason to really go to a jungle temple anymore. I'm breaking stuff. There's very little that is required of you to really go to out and explore certain locations, and in a game that is based around exploration, not so great. The best thing you can get is a diamond, which is an extremely low chance on the RNG for the loot table. It's got a very, very, very light weight. So there's, yeah, not a great thing. This is a make or break question and totally not related. Favorite football team? Interesting fact about me, Minute Thread. I'm qualified to coach football. It was the thing that I did before doing game design, as I did outdoor education, and part of that was to do outdoor education. I did mountain biking, snowboarding, mountaineering, orienteering, whitewater rafting, and stuff like that. But to do that, I had to do the base bit first, which was regular coaching. I'm not a huge lover of football. But I am originally from Sheffield in the United Kingdom, which is where the modern rules of football was created. It has one of the oldest football stadium there and stuff. So if I was pushed, I would say Sheffield United purely because I'm from Sheffield. Enigma, you should make a statue of me in the SMP. As long as it isn't Liverpool, it's okay. No. I don't really follow football a great deal. I'm not a huge lover of team sports in general. Rugby or football, American football, baseball, any sort of team sport. I prefer solo sports. Yes, so we're trying to move and encapsulate. Help! Where do I find the snips from the snipping tool? Good question. So one of the things that I really want to try and encapsulate is adding the danger, making that danger worthwhile. So, as somebody mentioned earlier on, the fastest way to make a temple in the jungles feel like it has a good reward is just to throw a totem of undying into the loot table. It's a temple, it's in a jungle, it makes you think Mayan, makes you think Angkor Wat and so on. I feel like that would be a good solution to kind of add that in. And then adding in a skeleton spawner would also give it the ability to actually respawn things in. It would also give an above ground or a guaranteed easier. Obviously, these are super rare structures, but it would give it something of an easier time for you to be able to find. So that's like an important sort of stage, right? You want to be able to like give the players like an easier time, but as a payoff for having a harder time. I think that's sort of like the main sort of thing. Enigma, stay on track. I'm trying. So the payoff for anything that we do should be equal to the risk. So you risk death. So as a result of you risking the death and taking on a skelly grinder, you can get a totem. It's a good way of guaranteeing like an early sort of lead if you're willing to risk it. Which is always handy. Risk versus reward within game design. You want to encourage your player base to risk losing their stuff. Like there should always be this risk of death and danger when you go into these sorts of places. If you're not invoking a feeling of fear, I think you're messing up. Let's just do that for a second, because I need to figure out where pillars are going to go up there. I may even leave it as thin pillars like that, to be honest. I will have a look at another point. A dripstone trap would be cool. Yeah, that's what I mean, like 𝗕𝗢𝗫𝗚𝗓 said, they should be archaic feeling traps, right? Because you kind of, part of the thing is to sell the aesthetic, to sell the mood. One of the things with the original build is that it's using dispensers that fire arrows. It's invoking that feeling of Indiana Jones and explorers, you know, and coming across these ancient things that have been set traps and laying in wait for you as the intrepid adventurer steps in from the daylight into the darkness, and their eyes are adjusting, and there's all these traps there, and they're not sure what's happening. When you say arcade, do you mean like mechs and attack? Sadly not. I will try, I think, and do like a sci-fi overhaul. I think I'd like to do a sci-fi overhaul of a village. I think that'd be fun. It's a shame that once you've explored one, you never fall for the same traps again. Yeah, that is, I was saying earlier, Donator, that's one of the main issues with the way that the temples tend to work in Minecraft. So obviously you've got like the jigsaw type structures, right, where they're pieced together like nether fortresses, strongholds, where they're comprised of lots of different parts of structures that are jigsawed together. But temples are monolithic, so they're identical. So once you've done one, you're aware of where those traps are. At that point, your whole purpose, or certainly on a multiplayer server, is to trick other people into going into them that might not be aware. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to take that up. I don't really... I'm trying to keep a similar aesthetic to this, but I'm just massively updated. I'm not really sure what they were going for with the roof. That's the problem. I get this. I get this. I get like this bit. I get that. That bit I get. Stared. It's stared. Like an Aztec temple and like pyramids of Egypt. It's stared. Like this. Although the ones in Egypt weren't actually like that. They originally had a limestone rendering over them, but that's besides the point. We're not going to get into that. But these bits I don't really understand. I mean, there's thing I think what these might be is, so in Angkor Wat, they have like these like circular roofs, right? So they're like that, and then they go up and they kind of eventually come up to a point. So they eventually sort of come up to about there-ish. A little bit higher. And they kind of billow out. So they're sort of like the tip of a bullet, the actual bit that gets fired. But there's like almost like little jutty out bits on them. And I think that might be what they were trying to go with here, but back in the day before we had walls and stuff like that of these, I think that might be what they were trying to do. Perhaps. Well, I will look at that during my break. I said I was going to take a break at 1/2 I then said I'd take one 10 minutes earlier and do a 20 past. It's now 22, and I've still not. So I'm going to take a quick break, guys. Have a think what you would do with this style of roof. I'm going to look at a couple of bits whilst I make myself a cup of tea and refresh my throat, because I've been streaming for some time already, and I will be back. So I'll be right back in a couple of moments. Remember the 1.2 trailer during the break. Thank you for the reminder. Okay, see you soon, Enigma. We should be waiting for your return. Thank you. Okay, we have a fresh cup of tea. I have also brought another drink through for when this one runs out, because inevitably it will, because I'm pretty sure I live with some little tea fairy nymphs that come along and steal my drink whilst I'm not looking. But we are back. Thank you. So I was thinking whilst I was gone. I did check out that 1.2 video. I sort out the little bit of the jungle temple. It's very different to what we ended up with. I never watched the trailers back then. But this is nothing. This is nothing like the one that was in the video. But other than that, I was ruminating on how easily distracted I am. I admit I am very easily distracted. This has been a lifelong problem to do with my excitability and my... Hey, Megan, welcome to the stream. I hope you're having a nice day, evening, night, wherever you may be. How easily distracted I am. They were just different, Donator. I would highly recommend you actually have a little look at it yourself. There's a lot more outdoor stuff. I can see how they came to the conclusion of going this visual route from it, but it's very different. I'm not sure how many hours I have, to be honest, Taco. Oh, no worries. Your name is Levi. Well, welcome to the stream, Levi. I don't really pay attention to any of the monetization stuff at all, or my subscriber count, or view time, or any. I don't care. That sounds odd. I'm aware. That sounds peculiar for a content creator to say. I just genuinely, I don't care. I enjoy making stuff for you folks to enjoy. As I said in my 500 subscriber video that I made, I really only make my content for one person. Like, if you watch a video of mine and, you know, you're having a rough day, and for that 20 minutes whilst I'm being the typical neurotic, crazy self and forgetful and stuff, yes, I know, I'm easily distracted. But as long as you, if you're having a bad day and you watch a video of mine and you enjoy it, and for those 20 minutes, I make you smile, I make you forget about how terrible your day may have been or whatever, that's all I care about. Like, I don't care about subscribers or anything. I don't care about watch time, monetization. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm cool either way. I just enjoy doing what I do. It's fun. It's a creative outlet for me, and I just want people to enjoy themselves. Easily distracted, yes. It's always been an issue of mine. I have, like I said, I have extreme short-term memory loss. I forget what I'm doing, and I'm very easily excited about ideas. So I tend to deviate. I know that Flames is currently watching. Flames and I have done a bunch of game projects together in the past. An example of how easily distracted I am. Years ago, this would have been 12 years ago. I want to say 12. We made an RPG together. It was me, Flames, Timesoft, Shiro, a few other people. Obviously, I won't give their real names. But my job was obviously game design. Well, that was my thing, to do game design. So I was coming up with essentially abilities for these turn-based characters to have and stuff, and that was my sort of part of my task, to go away, think about how these characters would interact in battles, which I did. I then deviated wildly, ended up coming up with all of these different concepts, like I'd say dozens of pages of like different moves. Flames came over to my apartment, we went through a load of stuff there. It ended up where it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and we were voicing the characters directly. Back then, I was also in a band, and I had like a little recording studio in my spare room that I would record essentially like demo bits for the other musicians in the band, because I composed all the music. And we were in there at like 3 o'clock in the morning recording stuff onto a laptop to be able to be used in this game, all these different bits. And the only thing I remember from it, the only thing I remember about almost the entirety of that game is Flames in a very, very, very calm way voicing the cleric saying, "Do you require assistance?" And that's the only bit I remember. But it was a great example of how distraction can be very good for creativity, because we got so much done in that day because I went away to do one thing and I ended up doing like 5 because I just got really excited and distracted. And then the day after, I just finished off all of those things. So although it's bad, I mean, the game can be a real pain. It's also very handy at times to be easily distracted. At least that's what I'm going to tell myself. Okay, I want to take these up, but I think I'm going to take them to like there, because like I say, I want to slope this roof down. My favourite part of that trailer is the fact that the iron golem wouldn't spawn in that layout configuration. Yeah, a lot of things have changed, haven't they? A lot of things have changed with Minecraft. Oh, I remember playing this game and being excited about glass. Actually talking to Flames about that the other day. In fact, anyways, watched, may have watched the your questions answered video of mine that was like on my channel trailer thing for ages, because I was too lazy to actually make a proper channel trailer. No, I'm just designing it at the moment, Donator, purely sort of like for fun, but it's more just looking at it from a game designer's point of view. You know, I have six years game design experience. It's a thing I have grade wise. When I studied it, I have the highest grades you can actually get in it, and stuff like that. I was extremely talented at this a long time ago. I just don't do it anymore. It's not something I do. But somebody asked about it in a comment section. And I decided that rather than sort of doing a typical build video where we kind of just go through and we use world edit and make this great elaborate thing, that I would design it from an actual game designer standpoint, have to keep the footprint relatively low, at least as low as what other structures are in Minecraft. It has to maintain being monolithic. It has to maintain being vanilla-esque, which is why we've not deviated away, even though somebody suggested that this was made using mud, bricks and stuff like that. The original isn't. I have to keep it similar. So footprint and stuff like that has to be vanilla-esque. I play a total of like 3 games. I used to play a lot more games than I play now. I don't really play a great deal of other games now. I mostly, obviously, spend most of my time in Minecraft. But I do play a bunch of other games. I play on a lot of games on my community Discord. I have plans to actually play on some games with community members as well. I was mentioning earlier that I plan on having a community Minecraft server that will be akin to this server at some point, for people to enjoy and sort of take part and build, and I'll probably go on there and build with people, which will be fun. I say I don't really see it as like a them and me thing with viewers. I just want people to enjoy themselves, have fun. That's all I want. As long as you guys get that out of anything that I do, even if it's just laughing at me being entirely forgetful, I'm perfectly cool with that. Have I ever played Hollow Knight? I have not. I've been told to a bunch of times, but I'm very stubborn So, like, quite often if somebody's like, hey, you should play this, my brain just goes, I'm not going to play that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do what you told me to do. I'm a little bit defiant in that way, which isn't good. I'm aware that's not good. Definitely don't be like that. If somebody suggests playing something, and you trust their opinions, you should definitely give it a go. It's more if somebody repeatedly asks me. If someone's like, you should play it, and then I don't do it immediately, and they're like, have you played it yet? You should play it. Ah. Just thoroughly upsetting. Like when someone repeatedly is hounding you to play on a game. But like I said, I studied game design. I've done a bunch of game design in the past. I've worked on a whole heap of projects. One of the issues with game designers and developers is we tend to really like games. And a problem with that is they are like, hey, you should get this. We can play this together, and we'll play it for like a weekend. Normally, Timesoft, who is he's a great developer, a really fantastic coder. Lazy. He's lazy as anything. But he's an amazing coder. We'll find an exploit in the game. We will have fun. We'll abuse that exploit. We'll get bored. Then we'd go and play something else. I can't remember how many games I had on Steam, but it's a couple of thousand or so. I think. Can't remember. It was a lot. Over two live. I think I had like 2 accounts on Steam. Yeah. Now I just play on one. I pretty much just play on one game. Other than a couple of select games I'll play with friends. What about Little Nightmares 2? I hear you're the protagonist. Not played it. I don't. Like I say, I don't really play on anything. I play on Minecraft. I've been playing 𝗕𝗢𝗫𝗛𝗓 Galactic recently with Flames, Archon. I've been enjoying that. That's a lot of fun. I started playing it because the aesthetic in that game is similar to the aesthetic that I planned out, I should say, at the time, was planning for Season 2 of Random Craft. And I was like, oh, this has a similar vibe. I should have a look at it. Like, it's cool sort of space hobo sort of aesthetic. And yeah, really fun game. Can't recommend it enough. Ton of fun. Really enjoyed that game. I've been playing a fair amount of that. But other than that, it's mostly Minecraft. Not gonna lie, it's mostly Minecraft. But then, you know, that makes sense. Alright. So that's going across there, and the main roof here. Let's get rid of this for a moment. We'll come back to that. I think what I'm going to do right now... Have you ever heard of Clone Drone in Danger Zone as similar aesthetics to the kind of sci-fi you like? I have not. I will have to have a little look. And paste. Okay. Now we've got to start destroying bits on this after. Because the top section, as you can see, is a little bit less run down than the bottom. That's because we were doing the bottom bit as we were going. We were just building it to look run down. The upper part we've kind of built slightly differently. Oh, did I miss the... I missed going all the way to the edge. I see. Well done! I'll fix that. Right, there's a whole bunch of mods out there that replace the vanilla structures, and there's some really cool data packs as well that do it. I recently made a data pack. It's in the video that I released yesterday, to do with drivable robots and mechs that Harry made, who's a community member on my Discord. I've made a few data packs in the past. Some of them used to be on my Ko-fi before I changed how a load of stuff on my Ko-fi is. I'm going to reshare those on my Discord at some point for people to be able to still obtain custom armor stands and stuff like that I've made. But I think it'd be interesting to do a data pack to replace the vanilla structures with these. Like I intend to do more of these things where I revamp an old one, an old structure. The one that I'm really wanting to do is the witch hut. Never liked it. Never liked the witch hut. I always thought it was terrible. Really, it's a horrible structure. Okay, good starting point. So that will be pillared up as well. So, as I was saying, like I'm going to be basing a lot of this on sort of 𝗕𝗢𝗄𝗏 inspired. There are lots and lots of cultures that are jungle-based cultures, or cultures that were eventually taken over, I should say, by jungle. But I think that 𝗕𝗢𝗄𝗏 is probably my favorite one. So I'm kind of basing it off of that, and then, as I say, little elements of the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, because there is no point in just solidly looking at stuff from real life. Technically, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon was arguably something from real life, although there is no archaeological evidence of the Hanging Gardens of Babylon actually existing. We have to be able to take creative leaps with things. Like Hanging Gardens of Babylon, the whole idea of it was these huge, beautiful gardens in this tropical setting. How that might be being 1,000 years untouched, 2,000 years untouched. The witch hut really needs an update. I assumed they would update it when they updated the swamps. Yeah, me too. I genuinely thought they would do the same, Taco. I just thought of a good trap for in this that might be similar to the Indiana Jonesy aesthetic you're going for. Okay, I will wait for you to enlighten me on this. I think the Woodland Mansion is my least favourite structure. Nice attempted mechanic, but the house is just a mess. I actually said that earlier on this stream. The Woodland Mansion is my least favourite thing to look at in Minecraft. Like, I think that the witch hut is lazier. Like, it's a more lazy attempt. Like, no effort was put into it at all. The Woodland Mansion, bad effort was put into it. Like, it's just bad. It's just an ugly, ugly building. That's over here. So you go for like inner tight. like a title. Labyrinth-esque things I think are always good. As 𝗕𝗢𝗫𝗠𝗏 pointed out, excuse me, as 𝗕𝗢𝗫𝗠𝗏 pointed out, those sorts of things can be problematic for monolithic structures, things that don't change, because once you know it, and then that's it. Like, somebody makes a video on it, and then that's it. Like, everybody knows it then. Which can be a problem. But that's not to say it's I mean, it is a great idea. It's just, it's too great of an idea. Because it's not something that Mojang have incorporated within their game design. In terms of the function and stuff. I'm trying to not deviate too wildly from what they've already laid out. One of the things you will find when you do games development, games design on an industry level is you don't have a say. We'd like to think that we do. We don't. If you've ever spoke to anybody who says, "Oh yeah, you should get into games," like it's not fun at all. It really isn't. You have no say over things. Somebody will tell you what is needed. Your job is to go away and produce that thing. It's still a great industry. Don't get me wrong. I really love it. But one of the things you will find when if you ever get into it as a field is you will be told, we need this, and it's a very strict thing, and what you're working on is a very small part of what the game will eventually be, and your room of creativity is tiny. Like, you get almost no creative freedom, and it's why indie games tend to have a much fuller, more rich experience for users, because they allow that creative freedom. And when you're allowed to explore your own creativity, better things come out. From my experience, better things will come out of it. I think the current temple and hut are okay. They're simple and humble, not intending to impress or pose much of a challenge. No, they're terrible. I disagree, 𝗕𝗢𝗫𝗠𝗏. They're too old. They have to be updated. As anything, it's a game that is, you know, if a game is around for a long time, there has to be changes and updates and stuff made. Not challenging, yes. You should give something for new players to be able to achieve with relative ease. Not everything should be a hard barrier. But it should serve a reason in some way of existing. If there's anything in a game that serves no purpose of existing, it's not been done right, or has failed in being updated. The Witch Hut, not so bad for it, but the things like the temples in particular, their purpose is completely useless. They have no purpose. There's literally the original Jungle Temple, when it very firstly came out, this wasn't craftable. It served a purpose. Diamonds were more rare back then. Mobs would spawn in like level 7 or under. So this upper section up here had a purpose. It spawned mobs. It was a challenge to a degree. Not a great challenge, but it was a small challenge. Now, nothing spawns on here. We have the traps down there, but the best thing you can get is essentially, I think the best is 2 diamonds. There's 2 chests, and each one has a loot table. The rarest thing you can get in there is a diamond. So you have the chance of getting 2 diamonds maximum. So the reason to go there is slim to non-existent. Things like villagers being added, villagers being updated, trades and stuff. Why would you ever, as a new player, run around, risk death for 3 hours or more? No. The top floor did spawn mobs. It's at light level 6. Because you've got to remember the placement is also within a canopy. So originally they spawned mobs, but they don't anymore because the light level requires to be 0. But originally they spawned mobs. The reasoning for a player to go and explore now on those structures is there's just no, like, you can get full diamond armor in 20 minutes. Even a new player can get it after about 40. And these structures are rare to the point where you might, I mean, there's, I think it was actually Taco was saying they've never found one naturally. They spawn rare enough that some people just haven't seen them. There should be a reason for players to go out and explore those. And the reward should be there for those players doing so. Otherwise, the game has failed on the level of being procedural. There's no point in having a world that is essentially larger than our planet if there's no reason to go out and explore it. You may as well hard limit it to 500 blocks because no player's ever going to need to leave that space as a singular player. You can just push things into that level that are the necessities, which are relatively limited anyway, and leave it at that. If a player is going out to explore, they should be rewarded for doing so as a core mechanic of a game that is heavily about exploration, both above and below ground. Right, so I think we're going to arc that up, a bulb, and then that'll kind of flow down. But if I'm going to do that, I should really have probably stair slab, I think. Oh, I buggered that up. Actually, that. And then, so that would be there. Down there. Arch, probably a couple of internal structural pillars. Though when I say pillars, I really kind of mean more of a buttress. More than anything, but more of an Eastern style buttress, because I think a lot of the aesthetic here is more going to be aimed towards an Eastern style than a Western style. Happy with how that comes up to. That's something that I was actually saying earlier, Donator. Like, so one of the things that I personally would like to have seen with the temple is one of the things I'll eventually do with this. There's the entrance. So this level here wouldn't be the bottom level. So like where this section is here, I don't want to destroy it. There'd be steps going down into another little chamber underneath, and that would be a tomb. So there'd be like some old tombstone-y type things in there. So it's kind of got like a Eastern sort of vibe. Maybe a skeleton spawner in there, so skeletons are coming up. And then this side would have a bit to go down into, and it would be essentially like, if this was a burial tomb, there would be like the place where the dead were buried, and then there would be a place for things for them to take to the afterlife. And I think that would be a good way of incorporating archaeology into the temples. Would be to sort of like have it where there was this archaeological discovery element to them. I can imagine clay. Oh, I'd love clay pots to be in Minecraft. Just for the Legend of Zelda thing, I'd just smash them all. The worst archaeologist ever. Hey Enigma, do you ever join viewer servers or viewer suggested servers for a visit? I have done in the past. I have never like streamed any or anything like that, but I have like joined a couple of people's servers just to say hello in the past. I'm not averse to doing such things. So I think around this bit would be dirty. I don't think it would be completely overgrown. I think it would be majority of the overgrown, but I think there'd be some dirty patches. And you look at places like 𝗕𝗢𝗫𝗚𝗓, it is majoritively overgrown, but there are still balding patches even in the most thick overgrowth. The other thing you have to remember with structures like these is, like I say, the way that they're generated is after a lot of the foliage. Or should I say no, before a lot of the foliage. Wrong turn order. So you'll often get like things like trees sort of growing right up against them. Sometimes land. Sometimes a door will be half buried, and you will often find that with desert temples, like where the door will be buried, or the jungle temple will have like leaves blocking the door off and stuff. So that's a thing that we'll try eventually, probably on the next stream, because I am starting to run out of time, is adding in like leaves and stuff, vines and things like that into the actual core section of the build, so that when it does generate before the trees and the hills and stuff, that it would allow things to enter. Like if this grass was buttered up to like this level, for example, all of this would end up being under the ground. And then if there was a tree growing here, it would blend in with the vines, so that no matter how the land was generated around it, it wouldn't look like it's necessarily half buried by mistake, because the palette would end up blending in such a way. So we're kind of working with Minecraft's generation turn order for how the world generates. And that way we can make it look like it's supposed to be pretty much anywhere it generates. If it gets generated half in a hill, it'll look like it's buried and the vines will blend in. So it always comes in and kind of makes it feel like it's attached to the world. I'm not sure what would make me want to explore Minecraft. I've always felt the game was quite empty. I was excited for the biome votes because even Jeb described places as empty. Yeah, I mean, look, one of the main issues with that is that Java's limiting. I've seen some speculators out there that have suggested that a way for Minecraft to stay relevant is to consolidate and stuff, and even I've looked at bits and been like, yeah, it kind of looks like they're trying to make moves into trying to get it where Bedrock and Java just eventually just become Minecraft, and instead of splitting the community up and just having one solid thing. One of the main things for that is just Java is very limiting. There are certain things Java cannot do. One of them is having lots of entities. It just eats through RAM. It eats through memory like crazy. The way Java handles what's called garbage cleanup, where it like removes things and offloads things, is done in batches that isn't that good. Like it's not very intelligently done. So it offloads, like if you give Minecraft a ton of RAM, say you've got like 16 gig of RAM, and you're like, okay, I'm going to give Minecraft 10 gig. You will get a smoother frame rate until it does garbage cleanup, and that's when you get that little little frame drop just all of a sudden, because it only cleans up based on a percentage. So it's once, say, like, let's say 60% or 80% is used, then Java will initialize garbage clear up, and it doesn't do it until that point. So whatever you set it to, it needs to clean up that much. So if you've got 10 gig, so say you have 10 gig of RAM, and then you have it where that becomes like the that becomes the like amount. So you've got 10 gig, 80% of that's 8 gig. So it won't start cleaning anything up until it gets to 8 gig of RAM. And then once it gets to 8 gig of RAM, it then cleans it up, but then it has to remove a whole bunch of material at once. And that's what causes these little spikes that you get. And it's just because of the way Java handles its clear up. Entities and stuff cause issues with that sort of thing, which is why entities cause the most amount of lag in Java. That doesn't really happen with Bedrock, because Bedrock's made in C++, if I remember correctly. It's either C++ or C#. I think it's C++. So that doesn't really happen. So Bedrock, they could make that world, they could fill it with animals and it would still run great. Whereas Java, it always has this thing of looking sterile because it's got this hard limitation because of Java itself. Sorry, I was a bit distracted. Did you reply to my previous message? Hey, Enigma, do you ever join? Yes, I have done in the past. I'm not averse to doing so. I like hanging out with people, hence why the Discord exists. So, you know, I'm cool with it. Okay, guys, it is nearly 2:30. It has been a long stream. I've been streaming since 10:30, so we've been streaming for 4 hours. I'm aware I've not got that much done. We've had a long conversation. I've been trying to converse as much as possible. Mostly, so I said earlier on, I was ill at the beginning of this year. A huge part of that was my throat. It made it very difficult for me to record, which is why I've had to take like breaks in my recordings of Random Craft here and there. Like I took a break, I think between episode 3 and episode 4, there was nearly a month break there. I think 3-week gap. I'm a lot better now, but I'm trying to get my throat muscles strengthened so I can kind of do these things for a long period of time. So I've been conversing a lot. But next time, I think we're going to do a bunch around here. We're going to look at some of the internal mechanisms, maybe look at some of the redstone elements, start putting in the tombs and stuff as well. I'll probably do a little bit of destroying off stream, just to destroy a couple of this upper bit, make it look as run down as the lower section, and then we'll pick it up next time. I'm thoroughly glad you joined me. I don't know why I did this. There's a little me in the bottom corner down there. You see him? He's beautiful. I'm happy to be back streaming again. It's taken me a while to get back to streaming. As I said, throat issues, medical issues. I'm looking forward to doing this. I'm going to try and do these every Saturday around the same time. I will try and remain more focused next time. I'm aware I got distracted. And we'll do a little bit more planning. I'll even go more in depth with some game design elements and stuff like that. Why things are done the certain way that they are within the industry. I will maybe start discussing speculatively on game design. So looking at what decisions Mojang have made with certain things, and then I'll talk about why I think they came to that decision, such as taking the original concept of the 1.2 update temple, which looks completely different to the one we got, and why I think they probably came to the conclusion of doing the one that we actually got. Because I think I know why, but I won't discuss it now, because I have to go. I have things to do. I have people to talk to, places to go, all of that stuff, you know? Anyway, until next time, I hope you had fun. Thank you all so much for watching. Love you all. Catch you later. Enigma out.